All right. Okay. Flex your body. Right kick, left kick, and turn with it. All right. Hey, Nate. What's up, everybody? What's going on? What's going on? I don't know how many of y'all. All right, Karen. Okay, what's goody? What's goody? I see I have two people that are actually following me on here. What's up, y'all? Make sure y'all are tapping the screen, getting people in here. I just got back from a really, really dope event in the city. And I was like, I look too cute to kind of just like hop up out of my clothes right this second. And so I was like, why not go live real fast? Why not just take a moment and talk to the people and answer some of these pressing questions that tend to pop up when they pop up how they do, when they does what they does, how they do when they do what they be doing. And so, you know, that's just what I'm feeling. That's just what's on, you know, my side of the turncoat, if you will. But what are y'all doing? How are y'all feeling? What's going on you all side of the world? You know what's so funny is I will see these things on other people's pages, and it is just giving like, oh yeah, you know what I think is really interesting though, Karen. Since I think you're the only one still in here, Karen, I'm gonna talk directly to you. You know what I think is really interesting? I feel like people only want to have those talk with the trans woman conversation when they feel like they can basically embarrass the trans person that they're talking to. Nobody wants to have a conversation with the trans woman that they don't feel like they can kind of sort of manipulate, or like they don't want to talk to a trans woman that they feel like they also um they don't like it when we look like them, right? Or when we look like somebody that they would be attracted to. They only want to be able to talk to you. And that's not to say that they don't want to talk to attractive people. It's to say that like I feel like people only want to have these types of conversations with you when they feel like they can pick things apart right away. And that's just not a thing that like I'm ever open to. And that's not a thing that I think I give out in the world or whatever. And so I can understand why it might be a little difficult sometimes for people to want to do these sort of like ask a trans woman sort of lives if they don't feel like they're going to be able to win a debate, or if they don't feel like it's going to be a negative space, which is real interesting. Hey, Tessa, what's good? Thank you, dropping gems. Um, Thank you. Come on, y'all better hit that screen, be tapping the screen, liking the screen, and all of the things. But I was just talking, I think I was talking to Karen because she was the only person that was in here, at least at the time. But I was saying that what I think is very interesting is that I'll be all over the TikToks and the things or whatever the case may be, and I see these conversations that I'm trying to have. Like they're being had 50,000. I'm sure if I get off of here, I can scroll, maybe two or three times and I'll run across another like room and it'll be packed. But I think that one of the things that I notice is that if people feel like you are an intelligent trans person trying to host the conversation, where it's like hey, like I'm open, like let's have an open forum, let's have the conversation. People don't want to have that conversation. Or when your aesthetic doesn't lend itself for them to like immediately, like even when your aesthetic is beautiful, you know what I'm saying? Like even when your aesthetic is beautiful, but it's like clearly trans, people want to like, that's the people that they want to talk to, because they want to be able to say like, oh, if I get pissed off or if I start to lose the argument, I'ma just say, well, you look like this, or take off those wigs, or whatever the case may be. So it's like when a person comes in here and they're like, oh, ask a trans woman, but I'm not the aesthetic of the trans woman that you can very easily like take down when you get tired, or if you decide that like you've lost the conversation or you lost the debate, it makes it harder for people to want to engage with, like within like the idea of doing a conversational piece with me, or with like asking me a question, because I feel like folks are so very used to certain things. I just accepted you, Karen. But that was just like always a thing for me that I find to be very interesting. Hey, Karen.
Hi,
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I didn't mean to get on here live. I was just trying to join, period.
No, it's okay. You were already joining, Miss Karen. I'll make sure I disconnect you, but you're already on. You don't have to press anything else.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. But I've learned that um when I'm like trying to have these conversations, and I've done this for years. What's very interesting is that when the trans people are not the ones hosting the conversation, it's 8,000 people in the room ready to have a conversation or ready to listen. Or like when it's somebody who is not a part of the LGBT community trying to host the conversation about the LGBT community, you got all of these people that will flood the space, and they in there and everybody is so ready to talk and do all of the things. But what's in it when it's an actual trans person, like, hey, like, go ahead and ask me the questions. Go ahead and like do the things. Um, I don't know, like it's very weird to me. It's very weird to me how people only want to have this conversation when they feel like they can rule the conversation, or when they feel like they can, if they're owning the conversation, then they can resort to violence whenever they feel like it. And that to me is what I feel like a lot of cisgender heterosexual people do, or even just cisgender gay men do around this conversation with us, because it's just like, oh, if we own the conversation, or if we whatever with the conversation, then whenever we get sick of hearing y'all, we could just start to berate y'all. And because we're the majority in this space, ain't nobody gonna say nothing about it.
Hmm. So I can't. I wanted to speak to this too because it happens both ways. Because I've noticed with the trans girls who do also hold these conversations, sometimes it becomes an overbearing echo chamber,
Mm.
right? And then it gets to a point where sometimes even within that echo chamber, the information will get lost, right? Between the people. So sometimes when people, I notice when I being on the app, people who are trying to, the cis individuals who are trying to, they will have like you said, a few other cis individuals in the panel too that will, try to help direct the panel. But then it becomes, well, if you say something that I have discourse with and I can't disprove what you're saying, then it will become a collective on whether I agree with you and I want you in the space or not any longer. That's what I've tend to find a lot of cis people do on here is they find like the pick me
Mm.
trans individuals,
Mhm.
that align with their views or even diminish their value or identity just to fit within that criteria of what a cis person may view as a trans person to be. And then that's where a lot of discourse on on this app happens, where it's in cis spaces. Now, it kind of happens the same way because trans people on this app have said, well, fuck it, we're going to create these spaces and we're going to control them the same way. So that's why we don't have the same amount of attention when it comes down to trans spaces, because now we're controlling the space, right? And when cis individuals feel like that control is no longer in their in their possession in some sorts, then that's when it become microaggressive, or they'll seem sweet to get into the space, or they want to be educated, they want to learn, or they want to understand. But then that's when the transmissia and the phobics in the things start to show, and it's then 9 times out of 10, it's not even a willingness to learn. It's just you wanted to invade the space.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've seen that tactic take over 1,001 different types of these spaces, where it's kind of like, well, I'm gonna be in here and I just want to learn and I just have genuine questions and I might not know how to say them. So please take your time with me. And then it's like they'll ask that first question, and God forbid,
It's rage bait.
yeah, it definitely is. It's like a rage bait situation, but it's also, I think that sometimes they might have somewhat of like a genuine appeal for why they join the space. But the second that you disagree too hard with something that they just want you to kind of be like, oh yeah, I see that, that is when shit goes left. If you don't immediately agree with the things that they are saying, if you don't immediately answer the question with the way that they want you to answer the question, then everything goes left. And what I find to be really interesting about this is that make sure y'all are tapping the screen, y'all. Make sure y'all are sharing the live because we want to get more people in here with opposing views. But what I find to be very interesting about trying to have these conversations is that there are so many folks that will join those other rooms. There are so many folks that will sit around and a straight man will open up a space and, all of that. So let me see. Jackie Poetic Justice says, y'all act the same way and then some of you get aggressive. Jackie, would you like to come up to the panel? I don't want you to feel forced to stay in the comments, but I would love to hear your opinion about being on the panel. Somebody just tried to join, and when I tried to accept you, something went wrong. So if you meant that, please try to join again. But Jackie, I would love to have your opinion on live versus you having to type in the comments, unless you really just can't. You don't have to get on camera or anything. Just here to listen. I hear that, but like also it feels tough. So even that, right? Like I feel like, so Sade, the topic of discussion is whatever you all want it to be. It's just ask a trans woman. And so, hi, my name is Hope. I'm the trans woman, in case that was not clear. But we were talking about right now just how sometimes it's very difficult to have these particular conversations in these particular spaces because, oh my God, Tanisha, I don't mean to fan out. Y'all, I do not love you and I love your content. I think that you're so fucking, and I love your stuff. And I love, first of all, I loved finding out even more about you through following you through different platforms. And I love how you're diversifying your stuff lately. Girl, I love you. Love from me to you. Black girl to black girl. Girl eats down. Thank you. Anyway, what I was doing or what I was discussing as a part of the Ask a Trans Woman section was why, when I can go into any of these spaces anywhere else on the TikToks, and if those spaces are held by heterosexual men or women, there's like 1,000 people, 9,000 people in a room having a conversation that's supposed to be a learning conversation or a didactic conversation about trans people, but the only time the rooms get filled enough to actually garner enough views so that people can learn is when there's a cishet person, usually a cishet person that is low-key just rage baiting and fishing on their platform. And I think that that's the thing that really works me, because it's just like, oh, we want to learn, we want to learn, we want to learn. But then when a trans person is actually hosting this space and saying, hey, everybody, come in, feel free to ask your questions, I'm volunteering to be able to answer these things. That's when folks tend to get quiet. Folks don't want to invite people into the room. Folks don't tap the live, none of those things. But everybody wants to learn, but nobody wants to learn from a trans person. It seems like everybody wants to kind of sort of just maneuver around the situation without us. And so that's.
Can I say this, Auntie, right quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Tessa.
So when it comes down to that point, because I believe there's some intention to learn after a while, right? I think what becomes a problem is that we don't what's the word, vet the conversation early, right? In some of these spaces, because I have a lot of people know this on this app, I have very low patience and tolerance. They know Tessa is quick to get the girl together. Trans man, trans woman, anybody gets it over here with me, because I don't stand for misinformation. And then I want the information that is being put out about us to be the right, and so people can stop using us against us per se, because that's what a lot of the times happens, is that people try to use our own knowledge and our own words against us. It's a very what's the word I'm looking for, st- uh uh damn, the word just was on the tip of my tongue. Semantics. It's very semantical over here, right? They play on words and things of that nature to try to flip the script, and that's where it gets dangerous. And then when you have trans women also who are still learning, right, and are just wanting to give back and give this information out so that we can all have a clear understanding, that's where it gets muddy, right? I've noticed that when people like to use the aggressive tone, it's usually the pick. They poke until they get that reaction out of the a lot of the women on this app, and 9 times out of 10 it's a lot of the women, because when in trans men spaces, a lot of the times they'll get the positive. You see what I'm saying? We have individuals like, of course, like my uncle Bandit, and then my brother Vonnie. They two are two individuals that have very successful spaces when it comes down to these conversations. When it comes down to with trans men and the trans mass community, so when it gets over to us and the girls, though, it's usually right off the bat. Either we're talking to chasers, fetishism, or we're talking to cis women who literally don't want to see us, and then try to invalidate us in that same space, right? So that's what the dynamics on this app can give. Not saying that there are a lot of cis women that I have met and cis men that take this very seriously and want us to strive. Baby, hold on, I'm gonna call you right back.
So, you know what I think is very
Sorry,
interesting?
Auntie, give me 1 second.
No, do your thing. You know what I think is very interesting is that, so what I do want to go back to is the comment that Jackie left in the comments. And she said, y'all act the same way, and then some of you get aggressive. Can we talk about that as Black women, about how Black women can't say shit without being perceived as aggressive? And I think that applies to trans women as well, and especially when you're a darker skinned trans woman. It's one of those things where, as trans people, what I think y'all have to understand is that some of y'all ask the most invasive and ridiculous questions, and some of you all ask questions to us that you would not ask to other people, right? And so I think that sometimes people being aggravated can come off as aggression, especially when you're Black and you have Black mannerisms. So a Black girl kind of being like, okay, girl, get to the point, is not necessarily aggressive. Those are just mannerisms that sometimes we have to like. I think that it's understood, or there's grace for those things when it is a Black cis woman. But because people, and specifically I want to say our own Black people, don't see Black trans women as women, it can be very difficult sometimes to have those conversations. And I think that being called aggressive like really triggers me, because it's one of those things where it's just like, so if a person, it goes back to what Tessa was just saying. I'm gonna land my plane really quickly here, Miss Jackie, because I definitely want to hear what you have to say. But it goes back to what Tessa was saying, where she was just like, basically what'll happen is these people don't really want to hear what we have to say to begin with, and there's this pacifying that happens to make us think that like, oh, I really want to have this conversation with you, and then they get into the conversation, and the second that you don't say the answer the way that they want to hear, or the second that you're not validating that you're a man, or something like that, then all of a sudden everything goes left, and all of that disrespect that's flowing from the person that entered and asked the question is now put on the trans person for responding with the same disrespect that they were met with. And I don't think that, I feel like sometimes, yes, the girls are triggered and they're easily triggered. But when you look at the same way that we as Black women deal with white women sometimes, or white men, or even our own Black men, like, you would see how you can sometimes see the bullshit coming and you can see right through it and right past it. And so the idea of allowing somebody to play in your face when you've already seen how this goes down most of the time is just not the vibe. And so there's a need, I think, that what y'all see is trans women saying, before you even go there, let me stop you. You know what I'm saying? And I think that like we do the same thing to white folks. And so why is it an issue when trans women say, before you even go there, sis, or before you even go there, bro, let me stop you. We not about to do that. And I think that us naming the fact that we won't be disrespected on certain things feels like aggression because you feel like, well, this is the first time I've asked you this question. And that might be true. This is the first time that you've asked me this question, but you know that this is not the first time that I've been asked this question. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that if there was like more consideration and empathy on both sides, we would be able to have conversations that don't feel so small and don't feel like they have to get aggressive because everybody would be understanding of the circumstances that they're walking into. So I see that we got two other guests. We have Miss Jackie, we have Jenny, and then we have Monica. I'm gonna go ahead and let Miss Jackie both respond and give her first thoughts, and then after that, you can go Jenny, and then Monica, you can go afterwards. Go ahead, Miss Jackie.
Hey, Hope, thanks for letting me up. So, may I just share a little story with you? Some years ago, I was watching T.S. Madison. Remember she did the Maddie in the morning before Fact Talk?
Mm-hmm.
And somehow the camera kind of went off of her disc and then out into where you were sitting. And my first thought was, Maddie is about to have a heterosexual woman on the platform. This should be interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you came up and you start talking. I'm going to remind you of the day it was. You showed a video of a Hispanic woman walking up to those little black boys. You remember that?
Yep.
And before that, Hope, that was when you remember the Bud Light trans woman and the fireman, and they had all this controversy going on. Before that, Hope, I did not adhere to pronouns. It was not until you started to speak and to help me understand like what was going on.
Gotcha.
Right? How other people go out and they do things like these little boys, like they embarrass these little boys. What could have happened to these little boys when they went back? They do these things, and then the black trans women get the bulk of the hate from it.
Yeah.
So I want you to know that it was you, Hope, that helped me to get to that place. So that's that, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other part to that is I was hesitant about coming up because I'm an older woman. And the last platform I got on, they are having a lot of platforms where they ask these basic questions like, do you believe that trans women should play in sports or go into the bathroom?
Right.
Well, I went up into that platform and trans women, if I believe that you're women, I respect trans women. You have a right to exist. You do not need my permission to exist, right? But I don't have to agree with everything that happens. And one of the things that I said that I do not agree with, too, is trans women playing in sports and bathrooms. Now, if you came into the bathroom as a trans woman, that would not be a problem to me, but hope we can all admit that some people are playing trans these days. And they are coming into our spaces and intimidating us and then saying, well, I'm trans when they're not. And so I was saying it from that perspective. Now, the sports, like, I just feel like the competition is not on a fair playing field. That's just it. But as a result of me sharing that, they call me old and dumb. This was a trans woman and a gay man. So this is why I was hesitant about coming up, because I don't have any problems with trans women. I support you. I do. But I don't have to agree with everything. And I think that that's part of the problem. And then the other thing, Hope, is that what is the resolve? We've been having these conversations for years. And so what is the resolve to this? Because none of us, I don't think that we should be arguing. Like, I think that those of you that identify as trans, in my understanding, I don't know everything about this, right? My understanding is that to identify as a trans, you should have transitioned on some point in terms of top surgery, not necessarily bottom. Is that correct?
Right.
And so, like, what do we do besides keep going back and forth, right? I get what the young lady said, Mean Girl, when she said, well, sometimes women ask these questions under the guise that we want to be educated. I've seen that happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a person that I truly want to know, like, how can I support you without us bumping heads?
Can I answer that? Can I tell you?
Sure.
Hi, Hope. How are you? This is my first time ever meeting you. I never seen you on TikTok. Hello.
Hey, Monica. I'm new over here, child.
What?
I'm new over here.
Okay, listen, I'm Monica. Listen, so I hear a lot of ladies, and to me personally, where it will start, and it's just my standpoints because keep in mind, I go in straight panels, and even if it's politics, I rather get in politics or whatever the case might be. I don't just talk about transness, but I get attacked by black men and women all the time. I get attacked by black studs from existing, just being a black trans woman. But I think women, when you say how can we fix it, you can't fix it. I think they need to just go back to like they've been doing. It wasn't an issue back in 2009 all the way up to 2024. Nobody was yelling to the top of their lungs about the bathroom issue. Nobody was yelling about the sports issue. I think when Donald Trump ran, he spoke on he was going to stop transgender women from going into the bathroom, and that spiked this situation up with women, especially white women. I never seen white women and black women stand together much as they did when it come down to black trans women on hate. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if y'all see this, or I know I'm not the only person that's out here that's looking at this, but I never in my life seen a white woman come together with a black woman until they start throwing out hate towards black transgender women. And, you know, I find it kind of crazy that white women and white men can come on these black spaces and voice their opinion, and black women can agree with them and say, yeah, y'all don't need to be in our spaces. So let me ask you, Miss Jack, how do you feel about in 2016 and 2015 when women was really getting raped by white men in the women's restroom? Why they wasn't yelling out loud then?
I can't answer that. I can't answer for anyone else. I'm only here to speak for myself, right?
So
And
let
the
me,
position that I take.
I hear that. So let me recalibrate this because I also want to like let people know. I know that I'm new here, but the way that I run my space is very specific. I want to give everybody an opportunity to speak, and I typically go in order. So I understand that there's a need to sometimes jump in, but try to write things down. I always encourage people to keep your notes app open, write down your points or whatever the case may be, because what ends up happening is that when we start to do the jump in and jump around, there's certain energies that start to pop up, and I'm starting to feel a little bit of that right now, and I don't want it to happen. So to everybody that is watching, if you are new here, how you doing? My name is Hope.Disguised. I am new to TikTok, but I'm not new to these influencer and influencer-esque spaces. We are here to have a good time, not a long time, and we're here to be respectful. We don't have to always agree, but we will respect one another in this space. I don't give a fuck who you are, friends, cis, gay, straight. You get on here and disrespect somebody for no announced reason, and you are getting kicked the fuck off. I do not block people, but I will mute you for the rest of the live just because I want you to still be able to learn something, if nothing else, and if you decide to stay. But that is for everybody. I am not biased towards the girls and the dolls, and I am not biased towards cis women or the boys. If you get on here and you start some fuck shit, I'm putting you off because I cannot, I get on here to have conversations to leave everybody thinking, even if we don't agree at the end of our talk. And again, I like to go in order. There's no tea, no shade, but it's just to make sure that nobody feels like there's favoritism. Everybody has to go in order. For right now, I don't want any more trans women on the panel, so do not request to come up if you're a trans person, because the whole point of this is that you're supposed to be asking a trans woman, and I don't want this to feel like an echo chamber full of trans girls, trying to do all of the things. Also, if you're a trans girl and you don't feel like I should be the only voice or one of the main voices speaking, that's cool. Go to your page and do it on your page where you could be the only voice speaking and the main trans voice over there. But over here, this is my shit, so I run it how I want to run it. If that's cool with everybody, stick around. If it's not, then go ahead and drop now. With that being said, I want to answer your question in my own way, and thank you so much, Monica. I want to answer your question in my own way, and I want to name a couple of different things around um some things that you said. I know that one of the reasons why, hush, Ruth. I know that one of the reasons why you're saying, like, Hope, if you came into the back, or I'm going to assume, right, that a couple of the reasons why you're saying, like, Hope, if you came to the bathroom, I will be okay with you, are a couple of things: my aesthetic, and then two, because you've been able to witness me and experience me outside of the stereotype of a trans woman. There is an understanding of the type of trans woman that I am, and then also the understanding that you admitted that yourself, that you thought that I was a cis woman coming on to her show. While I understand that, and while I'm not obtuse to the reason for why that wouldn't be a problem for people, I don't think that it should just solely be based off of aesthetic, and I don't think that it should just solely be based off of your personal relationship with a trans person. We don't know every other Black woman that walks around this space. We don't know what these women are thinking. We don't know if these women have taken their meds. We don't know if these women are serial killers or rapists or any of those things. And so I think that we have to be very mindful about saying things like, oh, if it were you, I will let you come in because you have the look, you have the whatever that I need to feel comfortable, but I wouldn't let her come in. Because I think that even if another Black woman who you assume to not be trans walked in the bathroom and her look wasn't savory and she just didn't look like the most whatever character, you wouldn't say, I don't want her in the bathroom. You would just find a way to hurry up and do your business and be out of the bathroom so you didn't have to deal with her. And I think that unless that person started bothering you, there would be no need to call police or no need to like make a post about it or whatever the case may be. And so I want to challenge you, Miss Jackie, when you say things like, oh, Hope, if it were you, or you know, and I'm not saying that you said this, but I'm assuming this and I'm putting words in your mouth, and please correct me when I give you the chance to speak if I'm wrong for putting these words in your mouth. But it feels like it's you saying, Hope, if it were you or somebody that looked like you and presented like you, y'all can come into the bathroom, right? But the other girls and the ones that make me uncomfortable with their aesthetic and the ones who don't, you know, present themselves in the way that you present yourself, yeah, nah, I don't want them bitches in the bathroom. And I think that that's a little bit unfair because we don't police the entirety of the community, no matter who it looks like in that way. So I want to respond to the first part of your question like that and give you some chance and give you a little bit of a moment to respond.
So yeah, so what you just said is exactly true. And so
Okay.
once again, I'm still learning, right? And so what you said is exactly what I meant. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. That's exactly what I meant. Yeah. And I'm not trying to be nasty, right? But it just feels more comfortable. And this is for me. I'm not speaking for every Black woman.
All right.
It just would feel more comfortable for me. And let me tell you why. Let me give you an example, if I may,
Mm-hmm.
of why I say that. Do you remember? I watched the panel with you and T.S. Madison with you remember the Gold's Gym.
Yes.
I'm speaking from that perspective. I would not feel comfortable in a bathroom with the trans white woman. I just wouldn't, Hope. And I'm working on that, but I just wouldn't.
And that I think that
Okay, can I ask?
But can I say something on that?
Oops, sorry. Go ahead, Auntie.
Hold on. Everybody is gonna have a chance to speak. I promise you. Write it down so you don't forget your thought. But I also don't want Miss Jackie to feel ganged up on in this moment. But I promise you, everybody will have a chance to address whatever they want to address. What I want to say about that, Miss Jackie, is one of the things that I find interesting with a lot of cisgender women is that there will be men in your lives who identify as gay. And I'm not saying that I know this to be a thing for you personally, but this is what I'm saying, that I think that myself and every trans woman on this panel has probably either seen or we have been this person. I know I've done both. I've been this person and I've seen this person, right? There are cis women who have gay male friends, who are effeminate gay men, who are, you know, boys of boys of boys, but they are very feminine presenting. And those boys can go into the girls' locker room, no problem. Those boys can go into the girls' restroom, no problem. And oftentimes It's because the girls, the women understand that sometimes those boys, those men are not safe going into the men's locker room, going into the men's bathroom because of the way that other men treat them. And what I find to be very interesting is that those are boys who are telling you that we are boys. We are out here doing the do. And most of the time, those are the same boys that will openly admit to y'all that a little piece of coochie to them every now and then is still on the menu. And that to me is very interesting when those men are allotted the space to come into the girls' bathroom, into the girls' locker room with full beards, big dicks, jock straps, boxer briefs, muscles, all of the things that come with the aesthetics of what, most people would assume that men look like. And there's nobody screaming bloody murder because there's an actual man in the vicinity, right? But then a trans woman will go into the restroom in all of her geesh and all of her glory, or even if she hasn't gotten to a certain point in her transition, she's wearing her Lululemon, she got on her yoga shirt, she got on her sports bra, she shaved to the best of her ability, but that woman is more of a threat to you than the gay man that you let up in here who last week at the brunch was trying to kiss you in the mouth, right? And those are things that I think that we have to, we really have to be honest about it I think that that's the reason why the girls get upset and we call bullshit on some of the things that some cis women are saying, because while I don't think that that's you, Miss Jackie, and I do think that you're saying you just need more time, there are some people that are out here really trying to gaslight us. There are some women that are trying to gaslight us into believing that it's not that you need more time, it's that we are inherently violent and that we are inherently predators and that we want to hurt other women, when most of the time, believe it or not, I don't know if this is true for every trans woman, but I know especially at the beginning of my transition, I was trying to be as quick in my bathroom, quick change as possible. There were some days where I almost missed a flight in one of my early transitions because I went into the bathroom stall and then a gaggle of Black women came into the bathroom, and I could tell they weren't going nowhere no time soon because they was having a conversation and somebody was fixing somebody's hair, and I was petrified to open that door and have those women possibly clock me and maybe make me feel a way about being in the bathroom. So when we say that, when we really say that we are more unsafe in any bathroom, right, than y'all are, we mean that. And it's because the voice of a woman, when she's talking about trans people, is that much more amplified. A lot of Black men could give less than a fuck about what a Black woman says until she says, oh my God, my life is endangered by a trans woman. Then all of a sudden they be ready to go to war. And there are some other women who actively be dangerous with us and put their hands on us because they know that even though they're a woman and even though that they are in the wrong because we didn't put our hands on them, they know that they can put their hands on us, because if we retaliate, it's going to be even worse than it's already going to be.
Right.
So
I dare you to retaliate, Hope. I dare you to retaliate. I dare you to. The whole neighborhood will get on you, girl. They'll all jump on you. The men will jump on you. The females will jump on you. It's over for you.
It's a done deal, Miss Jackie. So I think that as you think about your framing around that particular issue, because I know you asked a more nuanced question, but just for the first half of your question, I just wanted to leave you with that to think about. I'm going to answer the rest of your question and I'm going to land my plane because I know everybody else has some things that they want to say, and then we can move on because Kais is a heterosexual cisgender man and he probably has a question. So I'm going to let everybody respond to you and then Kais can ask his question. The second part of your question says what can we do? And I understand that Monica's nothing, right? The time to do this shit was done, but I don't think that that's what it is. I think that there has to be more willingness to have conversations about the inherent bias. And I think that you're doing a good job, Miss Jackie, at just admitting the things and saying the shit for what it is. But there are not a lot of women that are willing to say the shit for what it is, right? There are so many women who would rather sit back and say, well, I'm not jealous of y'all. Y'all ain't nobody to be jealous of. Y'all ain't nobody to there's this desire to downplay us while actively upplaying us, which is the reason why you're here in the first place. If we were none of these things, if we were we're X, Y, and Z and all of this stuff,
Exactly.
then why is it a problem, right? If we are none of these things
Thank you.
that you say that we are, then why is it so necessary to cut us down or try to remind us who we were born as or all of these different things? And I think that the best way to fix that is to be mindful of your unconscious or sometimes conscious bias that you have not tackled. The trans woman is not the issue. It's the man that likes the trans woman over you that's the issue. So attack him and ask him questions about his desires, not me, because I can't answer why he desires me. I can only tell you that I want to be desirable and I just so happen to hook that fish, right? And that fish is your fish, but that ain't my business. And I think that if we all started to have those conversations as women and stop putting the blame on trans women, oh, y'all are stealing our men, or y'all are tricking our men, or y'all are doing X, Y, and Z, instead of being reminded that these men have autonomy. And I'm going straight there, y'all, because that's what this is usually about. None of this is about women hating women. None of this is about a woman being physically abused by another trans woman. This shit is about niggas. It's about niggas being attracted to trans women when niggas are already attracted to white bitches, when niggas are already attracted to cause y'all put some F1s in the chat for me so I don't get cut off of here. But so it's about all of that. It's about the fact that, like, when it comes down, especially to Black women, there's so much competition with exoticism, and whether people want to admit it or not, trans women are now a part of that exotic category. We're up there with Latinas. We're up there with, the Ethiopians and the Tylers of the world, because every man wants to figure out, do I want to climb the tree? Do I want to suck dick? Do I want to get fucked? Do I want to do all of these things? And whether y'all want to admit it or not, because y'all have these conversations. When I'm assumed to be cis and people don't know my tea, I hear the conversations that the girls have. And the girls are in there saying, like, these niggas is out here getting dick and I can't compete with dick. These niggas are out here asking for X, Y, and Z, and I can't do that. I see why they with these trannies, but I can't do that because we already got to fight against these Beckys, and now the bitches with dicks coming around and taking our niggas too. We hear these conversations when y'all don't think that we are, when y'all don't think that we're listening, or when y'all don't think that we're in earshot. And I think that the best way for us to come together is for us to stop acting like the men are not the root of the problem, number one, and number two, for us to stop acting like we have to be enemies in order to solve the problem that is men. You know how we solve the problem that is men? Cisgender women have to stop pretending like you're okay with trans women, but then vilifying these men for liking us. Because a man who likes you and your homegirl at the same time and chooses you or the other one, y'all will laugh, slap fives, one of y'all get him, the other one doesn't, boom, it's done. But if a man likes you and also finds your trans homegirl attractive, that man is everything under the sun, and you gonna let him know that he's everything under the sun, because it does something to your womanhood for a man to not know off the bat that I'm trans. But you'll have some people who are very much so like you, Miss Jackie, who will say, oh, Hope, I didn't even know you were trans at first. So if you didn't know and you're the blueprint, how do you expect this person that is purely visual and very likely only paying attention to my titties to know that I'm trans? But none of that matters, because what ends up happening is your ego is bruised because he should have been able to tell the difference. And when he can't, now instead of him being the problem and us being the solution to figure out how we're going to continue to have a good night, I'm public enemy number one, and there's a rampage out to make sure that everybody in this space knows that I'm trans, and that's not okay. Jenny,
Exactly.
go ahead, my love.
Okay, I'm gonna make this quick in case there's any other cisgender women on here who want to speak, because I love this, Hope. I think that this is so important. First, I want to play devil's advocate a little bit because I think it's a little bit fun. So in relation to what you were saying about gay men being allowed into the bathroom spaces, especially those that are hyper feminine, I want to say that maybe that sort of happens amongst women that are familiar with them or are like a friend of a friend, right? And this is only coming from lived experience, nothing I'm stating as a fact, but prior to transition as an ultra feminine gay boy, I was um invited into those spaces, if you will, by the girls on my dance team, or if we're going out and things like that. So I don't know if, a random hyper feminine gay man, walking into the women's restroom in Nordstrom would receive the same um, type of invite, if you will, from the women in there versus, somebody that knows of you or your sisters or so that's the first thing that I wanted to do. And then second, thank you so much, Miss Jackie, for coming up here. And just sort of like tacking on to what she was saying as far as how do we move forward. Um, Introducing sort of the idea of, I kind of feel like sometimes it's a battle of truths, um, just surrounding some of the most popular topics such as women, trans women in sports and trans women being in the bathroom. Uh, I think a lot of times that cisgender women don't or won't really ever see trans women as women. Because I think what happens in these conversations is we as trans women, we're just asking as humans, we deserve to navigate through spaces, as we wish and freely. And then the conversation with cisgender women is, well, you're not really a woman and you're coming into my space. And so I guess my question is, how do you move forward from there when our truth as trans women is that we are women, but for cisgender women, it is you didn't experience girlhood, you don't have ovaries, I don't care how many modes that you take, how much surgeries, we are not the same. So that's what I wanted to add to the conversation.
Can I speak or someone want to
Now,
go
Kais,
first?
you know how this go. I gave Monica a pass because Monica knew here. She just met me, but you know how this go, Kais. You know you gotta wait your turn. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Monica.
So, so like I say, I don't, like I say, Miss Jackie, me personally, I don't think it's fair that, and that's all I hear about is women's spaces. I honestly don't like that word. I'm not gonna lie to you. And I'm not attacking you, right? But I get attacked all the time when I'm on these panels. And passable and not passable. I mean, you can't. Nobody, no woman can discriminate on a trans woman. A trans woman have to start somewhere, and I think that's what people fail to understand. You're not just gonna just one day you decide you want to transition and automatically tomorrow you're going to look like every spit of a fish. That's not gonna happen. Even if you go get surgery done, that's still not gonna happen. But I feel like, I don't think it would never be a how we can actually fix this, because I think in Texas we can't even fix the issue no more, because it's like now trans women cannot go in women's spaces, in like government buildings, locker rooms, schools, and stuff like that, etc. I don't think that's right, because at the end of the day, what if we in those buildings and we have to use the restroom and then we have to go in there with men and we get attacked or we never come out that bathroom? That's what women fail to understand. And they keep saying that this is not your space, this is our space. But that's dangerous. And it's 7 states like that right now that's going with this narrative with trans women cannot go in these spaces no more. And like I say, that's not fair, especially with black transgender women. That's real dangerous. And these white men are waiting. A lot of these white men and black men are waiting for a trans woman to go in the bathroom. And that's not fair. That's not fair at all. But
The only thing I want
yeah,
to
that's a,
I was gonna say the only thing I want to push back on, Monica, is that we are all women, right? I know, like, the reason why cis exists is because there's a differentiator so that we know who we're talking about. I don't want you to ever be like, oh, the trans girls and then the women, like, we are all women, right? So I take my power back when I'm having conversations, because I don't use cis if it's not necessary. And what you were saying, it's necessary to say, like, cis women are saying that we are not allowed in the bathroom, but I don't want us to remove our womanhood, because then it makes the other people who are cisgender, who are heterosexual, feel like, see, they don't even say it themselves, they even call us women, right? Like, no, we're all women, right? But I'm going to speak about trans women. A trans woman did this thing to me specifically, so I'm going to name that. Or a cis woman did this to me specifically, so I'm going to name that. But we are all women, right? Like, there might be a need to give a descriptor, like, oh, it was a fat girl, right? And I need to say that because I couldn't squeeze through because she was kind of big. That would be the only reason that I need to name that it was a fat girl. Because otherwise, I could just say, like, oh, it was a girl in the corner over there who had on a cute green sweater. Like, I don't need to name that she's big, because that doesn't come up in the story. But when the story story calls for it. I don't want us to feel like, especially like in a trans space, that we have to be like, oh, y'all are women, and then like we are the only, like, if we want to make sure that this is normalized, then we have to be the people doing it, Monica. But I really appreciate what you just brought to the chat. The Valley of the Sun. Go ahead, my love. Tessa, you can go after Kais.
Hey, what's up, everybody? So, and to you, Hope Giselle. Hey, what's up? How are you?
Hi.
So, I bring a kind of unique perspective because of the life I've lived. I'm 50. I've been GAY all my life. I've raised in the church from Arizona. And so I've never missed any part of this. I also did a little stint in the penitentiary. 18-year-old. If y'all lived through the 90s, y'all know how it was cashing checks. Me and my homies did that. So we ended up in the penitentiary. So I got a little bit of that perspective too. So I'm okay. So with that said, I think in this conversation, we always have to remember spectrum versus intersectionality, right? So you have, when you go into the trans space, right, there's a spectrum, right? There are the people who are just beginning the walk. And then you have the 10, right? The one is the just beginning, and you have the 10, the one who has fully completed the walk, right? And I think a lot of the problem is you have a lot of people who are just walking into the space, trying to trying to make a statement as though they have been in the space, right? So they're a little premature. And when you don't have the knowledge, you can't necessarily push people out of the way with what you have to say because you don't really know what you're saying, right? So you got to stand back. That said, like I always say in these, the relationship conversations, we always have to remember too, we have evolved, right? So people always say trans can't go in bathrooms, but back in the day, because I'm older, right? Remember, back in the day, there were a few of them, right? And then back in the day, it was really important to be passable. Like, that was the standard. Like, how dare you not be passable? So the girls were going to get you before you even got to the straights, because what are you doing in the bathroom? You finna mess it up for all of us, right? So really, the girls would get on you before the straights got on you, because we knew how dangerous it was for you for you new girls to be in here with us, right? That's it. And be careful when I say new girls, right? Because there are some girls who want to be beautiful and just can't do it, right? There are some girls who believe they are women, and no matter how much makeup and blush you put on them, baby, that look is just not coming across. Nevertheless, we gonna accept you because you just got, it's in you. So we gonna, you part of the sisterhood. So we just gonna make it work for you. Okay, so moving on that said. So then moving on to the GAY versus androgyny versus trans. I don't think there's enough conversation about androgyny, because I think a lot of the boys, if you will, that want to be trans really are just stuck in an androgyny and don't know how to express that, and or because they don't know how to stand in that space. When I'm trying to like deal with their mamas and grandmas, they just say, okay, I want to be a woman, when really they just want to really be in their feminine space, but they don't know how to do that as a man, right? So they know their mama, their grandma strong. So if I just adopt a female, then I can be strong and I can be a woman. When really, I just wanted to still just be a gay boy that wanted to be feminine, but they won't let me be that. So I either have to go to an extreme, which is really something I don't want to do, but I'm going to do it anyway, because I can at least, like I see T.S. Madison, I see Hope Giselle. Like when I go into that space, I can put on my Wonder Woman, my what is it? Remember Jim and the Hologram, Showtime synergy. So now I'm dressed, I can fight y'all. Like, let's get it on, right? So that's it. There are a lot of androgynous people that are trans that shouldn't even be trans. I'm 50 here, so I hope y'all hope you understand me. And I'm older, so too this is. And remember, there's a lot of ugly boys that are just so ugly that they looked better with makeup, and then they wanted to be trans. This is what I'm experiencing as the 50-year-old looking at this whole trans movement, right? A lot of these boys were just ugly boys. And they and now because of the contouring and the way y'all, can do this makeup thing, you can turn an ugly boy into a beautiful woman. And a lot of these new trans who are causing all of this stir are just ugly boys who put on makeup and became beautiful women. And now they want to fight with everybody when it really ain't got nothing to do with them. Y'all, they just need to go sit their ugly boy ass down. Please forgive me, y'all. Please forgive me. I'm 50, okay? Okay, I'm going to let that go. So moving on. Okay, so and I moved to this part here. In the trans movement too, it has gone from where I'm just happy to be in the room to where now I'm living my truth, right? So people need to, I think that new generation has to understand once upon a time, there was a group of people that have evolved from, baby, we just happy to be here. I'm just happy to have this little job. I'm just happy to be able to punch a clock. But, now it has evolved, right? Because people have fought, right? We have literally kicked ass. Let me say this real quick. My mama, as we always say, my mamas, right? But my mama back in the day was one of them street walking girls, old pretty light-skinned girl that swallowed up all the boys in the hood. Hello, somebody. Okay? So that was my mama, right? So even to this day, they talk about my mama and how she looked. Y'all know what I'm talking about. On that stroll, how that pretty little boy used to take all the boys, take all the tricks from the girls, right? Because that pretty little boy, for whatever reason, the tricks would pass by the girls to get to the pretty little boy. Y'all, I'm 50. Y'all, forgive me. Again, forgive me. And then really quick, I'm moving on. Okay, so happy to be in the room. And then the last piece here is best. Okay, so and then this part here. So I do remember, so I come from bookstore age too. Anybody old enough remember that? I was in the bookstores with them too, right? So y'all remember too, there was a thing called vest tight versus the actual, right? Actual mean I wanted to fully move on. I don't like this thing in between my legs. Please remove it from me. God, why did you give it to me? Get rid of it. That is the 10, right? On the spectrum, that is the 10. I don't want this thing. I don't know why you gave it to me. It should have never been there, but it's here. But thank God for modern medicine. We can fix this thing, right? So there is that 10. But again, in the bookstore, which we know the freaky boys do, right? When them boys come in with them little short skirts and the big bows, let's talk about them too. They come in with the short skirt and the big bows, right? So they're into, I'll say T.S. Madison is into the chat. Not really, but you feel what I'm saying. They come in the bookstore and the boys go crazy because they do. They like to play with tatas and they like to play with dangalangs. It just is a thing. That said, so again, I consider that, to me, that's more of the vest type, what we used to talk about back in the day. They like their thing. They like to put their meat in men. They like to put their meat in men's mouth. They like to, juice on men's face. And yet and still, they like to put on the makeup and be the girls. See, that is not a 10 to me. That's somewhere between the 1 and 5. You feel what I'm saying? Because if you like to pummel meat, the pummel buns, you're not a 10. You're not. Stop. Okay. And I'm going to close out here. I'm going to close out here. And then then my last thing here. That's the last piece. So the last piece is that the angle is that the vest type versus the transsexual, the 1 and 10. Remember, it's all intersectionality. And let me say this last piece. When girls, the trans men, right, come into the men locker room, I don't think men really care that they're in there. I think more so women are shocked that these boys are doing all this in the locker room. I have been, because I'm a gay boy, right?
Okay. Because you are
Oh
taking
my,
the.
oh my
Okay,
God.
I'm done.
What?
I'm done.
Oh my God. Because you.
Are you talking about Butch Queens?
Yeah. We're not. Okay.
This is not Butch Queens. These is about transgender
Yeah.
women.
I mean, some of
I have a lot to share. I feel
yeah, some of the dichotomy
Oh
I
my
understand
God.
the intersection, and I love where you were going with intersectionality. I swear I do. Now that part I'm gonna hold on to. We gonna pull that part up out of there.
It was a lot. It was a lot. Take it how you want. It was a lot. It's all yours. My bad. Go for it.
But I think that you are absolutely right as far as the intersectionality piece goes, and I do love the fact that you brought in that old school term of transsexual versus transgender, because I think that some people still use those especially like the older girls that are like around your age range. I hear like the Sanayas and those women say like there's a difference between transsexuals and transgender people. I would be considered a transsexual, right? I've gotten bottom surgery and all of those things, and then there are people who would just be considered transgender based off of the aesthetic or lack of completion of bottom surgery because you have not changed your sex organ. Now, one of the things that I want to make sure everybody is mindful of is that this space is really not for people who get it to come up here and continue to get it. It is for people who genuinely have questions like Miss Jackie and probably like Kais And these are people, and it's not to say that gay people or lesbian, it's not to say that gay men or lesbian women don't have questions, because some of y'all still need to learn as well. But it is to say that this is a space that is going to be for trans people, and that does include trans men. However, there is no trans man in here right now, so don't ask me nothing about them until my brothers start to pull up in the space. If one of my brothers is in the space and wants to be a part of this, please let me know, because I don't want to speak for y'all. So at the moment, this is going to be about your questions about trans women. And if you're going to use other groups to make your point, make sure you land that plane quickly, because we don't want to decenter the girls or confuse anybody who is here to ask their questions about trans women. That's all I'm going to say. But I do appreciate the intersectionality piece that you brought. Go ahead, Lyric.
Okay, so I actually have a lot to say, but I don't know if I'm gonna remember everything. Okay, about the bathroom situation. I felt very strongly about that, and a lot of people in the community probably don't agree with me because I defended that person. The way I feel is like I've definitely been through it. I live in New York. I live in a shelter. I live in a women's shelter right now. Okay, and I used to, when I first came to New York, they put me in a men's shelter. So, and in that shelter, that has been shut down now because it was very violent and people had passed away. And I was raped and I was abused there, and I went through hell there. So, and the thing was, like, when I went to women and like actually asked for help and told them what was happening to me, they didn't want to hear from me. They was like, it's like the oppression Olympics, like I was stealing something from them and telling them. And I really was just going like, these boys is really bothering me. And they didn't really see it from me because they thought I was ugly or whatever. They would tell me just straight up, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, I learned a big lesson. Like, I know it feel cute to be like, oh, I'm the transgender who could actually go into that bathroom, and the rest of y'all, y'all not ready yet. That must be a cute feeling, I imagine, because I would love to be on that side of the fence, although, whatever. At the end of the day, not everybody gonna win that genetic lottery like that. I've had a lot of surgeries. I had bottom surgery. And I don't think I could walk around that bathroom either. Because trust me, and I'm a very respectful person, and a lot of people like me. So, but I don't make that think I'm special, because I know that somebody could go to the manager of Gold's Gym and be like, yeah, I'm feeling uncomfortable. So at the end of the day, like, the way I feel is like your comfort is not guaranteed. Like, your comfortability is not guaranteed. Your safety is what is paramount. Like, everybody needs to feel safe in the bathroom. But when you're in a public bathroom dealing with a diverse public, you are going to encounter things that are going to make you uncomfortable. And that is just the reality of the situation. Cherry picking transgender people and saying this is really the issue, that's only because we in the news right now. So of course they're gonna give you the mic and amplify that point. But any other thing that's making you uncomfortable, girl, they don't see it for you. And usually the law don't got your back, because that's just not how it works. It's pedophiles in the bathroom with you, girl. It's all kinds of people in the bathroom who you don't necessarily know their tea. You know what I'm saying? Our shit is just out there. You know what I mean? And the thing is, just like you was talking about, how I done been in a bathroom. When I was in that shelter, I had been raped, right? I couldn't use the men's room in there because the boys was like horrible to me. So I would go to like other like Burlington Coat Factory or Marshalls. I remember one time I was in the stall crying because my mom, she don't want to talk to me or whatever. I had told her I had been raped, and she said it was my fault because I was dressing up like a woman. And I was in the bathroom crying. And would you believe they called the police on me? This girl called the police on me. And so I'm just sitting there like, and this is in New York, and I was so traumatized, you know what I mean? And I remember I went to I have a crazy story. I went to support groups and they didn't want to hear from me. And the Butch Queens was mean as shit. They told me, don't come here dressed like that. Like, I can tell y'all, like, nobody really cares, in my opinion, what trans people really go through. They don't want to hear from us for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't believe in the support shit because I've seen it for myself. They fake allies. They here on Monday and Tuesday they gone. You know what I'm saying? And like, they're not really in it with us for the long run. So I've become very suspicious and distrustful of almost everybody. I know what my heart is in the situation though, because like, I used to work for the LGBT center, and I lost my job. Like, I quit over how a certain young person was being treated. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I was with it. Like I was willing to lose my job and my livelihood and go back to the shelter over fighting for another trans girl. So very few people do that kind of thing in this world, just so you know. You know, they find all kinds of reasons to blame us for shit that's not really our fault. So anyway, so I just want to say that. And the other thing I want to point out is, I don't think I made all the sense in the world, but that's okay. The other thing I want to point out is the biological woman thing. I've always wanted to say this because I know everybody like that saying that, which is there are trans women and there are biological women. Sorry. Now I understand why y'all say that. But here's the thing. I just want to point this out, just add a little nuance. Okay, so when you say biological woman, you are mostly focused on being able to have a child, a uterus, and having a vagina. Okay, I hear you. But there are other aspects of biology that are important, you know, including your brain. And your brain is supposedly where your identity lives. Okay, so my identity, that internal hardwiring that got me thinking I'm a girl from the time I was like 2, from the time I was aware and conscious. And, you know, I'm talking to my best friend Demetrius and I'm telling him, you know, I'm a girl, I got a secret and you can't keep me off women's clothes. And I'm dealing with boys, but not really not like a boy. I want to be the girl. And we playing house. I want to be the girl. I want to be the girl. All that shit from when I was a kid all the way up until adulthood that hasn't gone anywhere. We don't really know because the science is still evolving, but that could very well be genetic. You see what I'm saying? Like that could be a part of my biology as well. And so then we have to ask ourselves, why are we privileging? I don't know if you want to call it privileging because it don't sound like a privilege to me. You know what I'm saying? Certain aspects of biology when determining gender and marginalizing other aspects of biology when determining gender. So another way to say this is that there might be a biological basis to transgender identity. Okay, because truthfully, what y'all doing is you're saying biological women are real women and transgender women are fake women, and that's what's going on. So that's the only reason I like to niddle that point because y'all gonna keep going to that in order to justify excluding us. Okay, so I just want to say for the cis women, like I'm no threat. You know, we no threat to you. Frankly, I like what Hope was saying about the men because the way I feel about the men thing is when a man sees an attractive woman, he sees an attractive woman and he ain't gonna let little things stop him from dealing with an attractive woman. He might be ashamed of it. It's not a stigma, you know what I'm saying? And it might not be worth it for him to go public with the situation. But if he get an opportunity, he get an opportunity, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of them don't get a lot of quality opportunities with us. So with an attractive woman, point blank period, you know, and that's just what it is. So that's what I have noticed, you know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to say that. That's all. Sorry.
No, please don't be sorry. I'm not the only person that can get on the soapbox here. That's why I like to make sure everybody gets a chance to speak and get on their soapbox so that it's not the Hope show, especially if I'm going to do a panel. Now, if I'm just up here by myself, then that's a different thing. But I appreciate it. And first and foremost, I want to say, sister, I don't know you, but I care. Your story matters. The shit that you went through wasn't okay. There's nothing that we could do to take it back. But what I can say is what I can do, I'm going to do from now on, now that we are connected in some way, shape, or form. And I've been through some of them same situations. I've had to cry by myself too, but I've never had people not take my tears seriously. And somebody in the comments wrote a couple of a brick ago, like, you know, pretty privilege is real and is a thing that affects people, and passing privilege is real and it affects people in a different way. And so that's not lost on me, that I think that for some people, they are willing to look past the fact that I'm trans because they might find me attractive in a different way or because I have a certain aesthetic. But that doesn't mean that anybody else's story is any less important. That doesn't mean that you are less valuable. I hate the fact that you had to go and be an advocate for somebody else while you were still navigating your own trauma. That's not something that is normal. You should never normalize that shit. Feel the way that you feel about it. Continue to process it in the way that makes you feel the most comfortable, and never back down from telling this part of your story because it's going to be the thing that saves another girl. I think that it takes a lot of guts to be able to come up and say your truth the way that it's written. No filters, no glitz and glam for the sake of the people listening, but just be able to say how you feel about yourself, how you think the world sees you. And I want you to know, I saw people in the chat, we all see you. You made perfect sense. You articulated yourself just fine. And I think that if nothing else is, like, you just opened up a door for us to be a little bit more mindful about the way that we treat the new girls or the girls that don't have certain aesthetics, because y'all are going through. There are plenty of us that are going through, even with the shit. Like, don't think that anybody is above it all, because even women who were not put in our shoes, who were born as women, have to sometimes go through those very same things, because the gender roles that they place on us, they don't even, stand a chance at themselves. So I just want you to know, like, we see you up in here. I clearly see it in the chat, and I want you to know from me, like, I see it, and I really appreciate you coming and bringing that, and also being patient enough to even wait to tell that part of your story. So just thank you, sis. Kais, go ahead, love.
Hello, beautiful. So it's my birthday. I'm 32 today, everybody.
Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Wagwan. Pop, 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 pop. Okay, I'm done. Happy birthday, guys.
Thanks. All right. So, as you know, my philosophy, we're all human beings. That's my philosophy. And yes, the men are at fault. So, the fault that all this is psychological in nature. It's a mental health issue, right? I've always spoken about the whole story a lot to do with what happened now in terms of jeopardizing men and making them value themselves less, and so they don't care about what they do, and how it affects women, and then how it creates a cycle. Children, and it creates this continuous cycle that's affected even your community currently, right? These insecurities come from a lot of different stuff that's going on. The people don't value these themselves because they don't think it's important. They don't think about the material things that they get, the normal land, house, car, money, and they forget themselves. And as a result, all these minor issues coming up. So they're so concerned about you going to the bathrooms, right? Then why aren't they concerned about the behavior that make it unsafe for you to go to the bathroom they would want you to go into? You get me? I think about things like this because you talk about safety. And that means there's a social issue going on in how these men are socialized. Raping shouldn't be happening. There's an issue, again, with how they're taught how to operate. All they're taught to do is go to school, get a job, have this, have an image. And that's it. That's the beginning and end of them. Having some laws is not enough. You get me? It is having practices in place that would reduce the likelihood of certain things. And so where there are issues is quickly caught, right? I don't know if anyone know about attachment styles, right? Mm-hmm. And attachment style not a man versus woman thing. They now might probably say, oh, women are most of this, men are most of that. But then when you look at the numbers now, it's kind of changing. It's now like, and this is something women and also other people in other communities. So this would touch on the overall approach of so the way forward is to understand the value of yourself, and then you can then better connect with those who struggle with the value in themselves. The more you focus on that, then I can guarantee you start to have a lot of different problems. There are learning styles, which are a big issue. Learning styles affecting people with ADHD currently. ADHD is on the rise because of learning styles. The learning style they're less meant to teach men to connect with men. It's not a gender thing. It's a matter of most men, not all, have a particular learning style, right? It's more, I would say, hands-on. I find, again, when you walk with a man, you find it's more effective. This is research. This is not an opinion of men versus women. Cool? And so you find that like talk therapy is more effective for women. Keyword, I said most here, not talking about everybody. Cool? And so you find that, again, it's about the approach. So the system is set up in a way where it causes a lot of issues for both men and women and everybody in different communities. If you understand where these issues are and you solve those issues, it will solve all other issues that occur, right? Because as someone who incorporates these very things in the businesses and the people I work with, I can tell you for a fact, one little change makes a huge difference. I have had people increase their income by 5 simply because of simply tweaking an approach. I had serious anger issues. I'm coming from a very abusive background. I've been molested. A lot of different things have happened. You get me? And I can tell you that value yourself more means you can better value others, and learning to do that will help others heal and deal with their own wounds. So this is something that we have to set the example in and put the work in changing certain things to ensure that when these minor changes happen, we then see we have to. I want to say love our men and love our women and love the community. I mean, we have to do the things that will bring the best results for them, because it's not all men who are just intentionally trying to do this. They're just following the crowd. They're just walking and going with the flow. It's a group. It's a group.
Guys, hold on. What's this happening in the chat, y'all? What is, because I feel
I
like
think he was talking. I think he said that the men are the problem. I'm not sure what he.
yeah, I just want to make sure that, because I mean I'm okay
Hope,
with
thank you so much for letting me.
absolutely.
So thank you so much for letting me come up. I'm gonna drop
Go
so
ahead.
someone else can come up.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
All right,
Yeah.
I can continue.
But 1 second, because
All right, so I just
1 second, guys. Bowie, if you have a question, I want to make room for you to ask your question and for you to make your statement. We don't have to agree. We just got to be respectful. So I just want to say that if there's something that needs to be said, like, please feel free to send a request, especially if you are not a trans person right now. I have a space. I want to open up space for one more trans person to come up, and actually that person has already requested. Belly, go ahead and send your invite, Belly, and I'll add Belly up. I have 2 spaces for people who are not trans but have questions. So if you are trans right now, unfortunately I don't have a space for you, but Belly, go ahead and send your request and I'll accept it. Here we go. And then Biggie, Shorty, I'm gonna hope that you are not a trans person, but if you are, I'm gonna drop you, love. Kais, land your plane, because Daisy has been waiting for a minute, and then I'm gonna give the 2 newcomers some space. Go ahead, Kais.
all right. As I was saying, it's some men at the top, right, who put these measures in place to affect other men, and as a result, everybody else. It's like it's not an army and the army executes. That's really what's happening, right? So we need to solve these minor issues so we can solve these major issues. Because mental health is every other health, literally. Mental health affects financial, environmental, social, every other health under the sun. So I think that's the key to solving these problems. The awareness is good, understanding is good, and relatability is good, but again, mental health is the source of it all, in my perspective.
And I'm happy to hear a man say that. Go ahead, Daisy. I don't know if Daisy went to sleep, because you have been waiting up here for a second. So while I wait to see if you're gonna wake up, Daisy, Biggie, Shorty, go ahead. Oh wait, Daisy, you here? Okay, go ahead, Daisy.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm trans too, and like I just wanted to put my input at one point, and then I completely forgot what I wanted to say. Cause girl, it's been a long
I hear
talk.
it. That's why I tell y'all to put it in the notes. Y'all gotta write it down.
But I will say, people tend to forget, like, trans people are genetically predisposed to having their identity within society, because it goes into, like, just like they say, they want to use it against us and say, oh, chromosomes this and chromosomes that, but you forget the fact that we both share X chromosomes, male and female. So that goes back into, like, going into the womb, and how they say, okay, a woman and when she's pregnant, you can be pregnant, and if you're exposed to too much testosterone, the baby can develop in a way that it's not supposed to. And people forget stuff like that, and it just messes us up because it's like they don't see like anything scientific unless it's their way, where it's like, okay, they'll use it against us, but they won't look at it for a way that can protect us. As well as they can say something like, oh, you guys have mental issues, but they don't use that in a way that will say, okay, why would I disrespect or harm a person that has mental health issues, instead of just like supporting them and helping guide them within our society. And that it's very hurtful, and it's like it's a really disgusting and sad thing within our society. And it's like they want to say all these like insane things and add so like I don't even know where to go with it. But all I'm saying is there's a lot of ugliness in this world, and a person who you believe has mental issues needs nothing more than love, support, and respect. Because the only thing you're doing is being an evil person by bringing someone down who just needs love and respect.
Mm. Go ahead, Big Shorty.
Hey, Hope, how you doing?
What's good, love?
Um, hey, Pamela, how y'all doing? My only question is, and I hope I'm not off topic, but my only question is, why is it that the GAY, and I want to be very TikTok friendly, but I want to get your live band, but why is it that the GAY boys in the community they dislike the trans girls? I don't understand that. What's up with that? Because I am a boy that's GAY myself, and I don't understand the dislike that comes from the gay community, the boys. So, well, I can't even say it's the boys because I literally had to cut a friend of mine off because she was a stud and she was saying how she didn't like trans people. Cut, gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta go. How the fuck are you a stud? We all under the same umbrella and you hate us. That's just like the straight people. They hate us. When they see one of us, they equivalent one of us to the whole umbrella. So I just don't understand how can we and how are we not saying y'all, but how are we in the community and we hate each other? What sense does that make? But I'm speaking specifically towards the gay boys versus the trans girls. What's up? What is that about?
Now I know all of the girls have something to say about this. I'm gonna kick us off and then we can populate.
Sure
So
do.
here's my theory around it because I think everybody might have a different experience with it, but I think a lot of it comes from jealousy. A lot of it comes also from envy, and I want people to know that those two things are not interchangeable or synonymous. People can be jealous of you and not be envious of you. People can be envious of you and not be jealous of you. And I think that unfortunately there's a deadly mix of the two of those things that happen between some gay men and trans women. And here's the thing. I think that if we go back to our elder, I forgot what his name was, but the Mr. 50, and he was gonna need some apology. If we go back to what he was even saying, a lot of it has to do with the intersectionality of what it truly means to be trans versus what it just means to be a gay male who leans into his femininity. Everybody has the both and. We all have parts of us that are highly masculine. We all have parts of us that are highly feminine. And some people just tend to lean into one or the other and just so happen to be the opposite sex for what we deem those things to be okay with. There are some gay men who know that they can't transition in the way that they want to transition, and that turns into jealousy. And then after they realize that they cannot that they won't be able to transition the way that they would like to transition, it turns into envy when they see those same women that are doing what they would like to be doing, dating the men that they would like to date. Reason why they become envious of this is because when men say that they are some, not all of them, some, when some of these men say, I am not gay, I only deal with women, and I see trans women as women, they mean that. And the problem with that is that some gay boys don't see us as women, and what they do is they go after these men that like the girls with a wig on and still a 5 o'clock shadow, and they're
Right,
pressed when the boys
right,
are disinterested.
right.
And so it's
Right.
one of those things where we have to be very mindful of how we navigate one another when it pertains to men, because again, all of this stuff still goes back and comes back to the attention of some of these dirty ass, raggedy ass, dusty ass cishet men. Somebody please give me some F1s in the chat. What'll happen a lot of the time though is outside of the system and the powers of jealousy and envy, there is still misogyny and patriarchy that work for gay men, even though they're gay, within our community. What do you mean by that, Hope? Well, gay men aren't men in the heterosexual world. Heterosexual people don't see a lot of gay men, especially the effeminate ones, as men. However, the only time they really see y'all as men is when y'all are a part of your own community. So when it comes down to community issues, then y'all the biggest niggas they ever did see, and all of the manhood that y'all have bestowed upon y'all is real, it's true, it's on, it's all of that stuff. And what happens is they give y'all that power back in order to make y'all the rulers of us, which is why the DL Whisperer is out here with all of these followers and has all of these views and all of these people, because the same people that wouldn't pay any attention on a regular schmegula degula day only acknowledge his manhood as it pertains to being able to devalue trans women. And that is where a lot of y'all find power. Some of you all can't find power just as a regular degula schmegula dude who happens to be gay. Some of y'all can't find friendship just as a regular schmegula degula dude who just so happens to be gay. But that power is relinquished from a lot of cisgender heterosexual people when they know that you're going to use it to further disenfranchise other parts of your own community. It's like spiting your face by cutting off your nose. And so many of them don't understand it until it's too late. You were never a friend. You were just the punk that was doing the work that they didn't want to do. You were never a friend. You were just the fag and the sissy that they were cool with using, because it was easier to get you to have people backlash on you than it was to have people backlash on them. And I'll land my plane with this. A lot of you gay men that allow yourselves to be used, right, by these cisgender heterosexual people, the way that a person like the DL Whisperer is allowing himself to be used, need to understand that they only want you to do the dirty work that they can't do so that they can continue to have access to your community, and people don't call them out on their BS for it. What do you mean by that, Hope? Well, if I get a punk to go over there and call you a tranny, if I get a punk to go over there and say that you're a man, if I get a punk to go over there and do all of the things that I would like to do, I can still get my makeup done, I can still get my hair done, I can still get my lashes done, I can still get you to do a fire ass photo shoot for me, I'm still gonna get you to walk me to my car and pay for my Uber, and when I'm crying to you about the nigga that I'm fucking because he's not showing up for his kids, you gonna come and play gay daddy to them, and I'm gonna be grateful for that. And all of those things are benefits that they get to keep while you are actively tearing down your own community in their name without realizing it. And so if you ask me, the dichotomy stems from both envy and jealousy, as well as a desire to be seen as masculine amongst people who don't see your masculinity unless you're using it to devalue other people like you.
Wow. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I get it like 100% now. And before I get off here, I want to make a apology to my friend Monica over here. But I do want to say this. I do know for a fact that you're absolutely correct, and nobody can try to like take away what you're saying, because me, one of my trans friends and another punk, two punks and a girl, right? So, we out and about in the city, whatever the case may be, New York City. And this guy was like, ooh, hey, you look good. The boy was like, who? Him? I'm thinking he talking about me. But he's misgendering our friend. So our friend, we look at each other like, bitch, who the fuck he talking about? Talking about some him. When, bitch, we knew exactly who the fuck this man was talking to. We knew he was talking to her. But he goes to say, oh, I'm talking about the girl. He said, we all niggas. I said, no, you got the wrong one. And another thing too, exactly. Another thing too, I had a situation going on. Well, not a necessarily a situation, but like I had a panel like what's going on right now. And my friend Monica, she came in or whatever the case may be, and I had stepped away from my phone, but her and one of the panelists had got into it. But let me say this to Monica. I don't know if that made you feel a type of way, what happened between you and that person. I don't know what's going on between y'all, but I want to publicly apologize to you because some people came in my, and I never came to you with this because I handled the situation and I didn't feel like I need to come to you with it because girl, come on now, we know each other, but I just want to publicly apologize to you because that person was misgendering you. That person was, calling out your name or whatever the case may be. So I do want to send a public apology to you. Host, thank you for letting me up. I appreciate everybody. All my trans girls, please stay safe. I'm an ally and I love you all. Good night.
Alrighty. Thank you so much, my love. Monica, do you want to
Have
respond
a
to
good
that
night.
apology?
I love me a little butch queen.
So I told him thank you. I did appreciate you for that. I mean, and he know that when I go on these panels, I mean, and to me personally, I really feel like if a trans woman don't stand up for herself, it always come down to some of these gay men, especially black gay men, that will literally attack a transgender woman because these people are not happy with themselves, and it's a lot of jealousy that goes around. Because at the end of the day, if you wasn't so jealous of me, then you wouldn't even speak on my name. I know I wouldn't. I'm not about to go around TikTok picking on nobody and harassing them unless they come for me. And a lot of people know me. So, I troll people when they troll me. But yeah.
I know that folks are gonna have something to say about or something to contribute to that question. Does anybody have anything that they want to add to the answer? I know that he's still in the room, and I know other people might want to hear thoughts that are not mine. So please feel free to sound off on why y'all believe that there is such a disconnect between the boys and the girls.
I wanted to add something. Well, I don't know if it's really adding something, but rather just giving my take on something that's kind of been said. I think that more than we know, especially as it pertains to this society, people will do anything to preserve their lives or their personal freedoms or their comforts. And more often than not, even their certainties, they'll do anything to make whatever their certainties are remain certain. So a lot of gay men, they're like, well, they feel like they got close, so to speak. So they're like, we finally getting somewhere in society. And I've had, like I said, I host lives, conversations and debates. I've had so many gay men, black, white, purple polka dot, whatever, come in there and they like, y'all are fucking up for us because y'all want people to call you they and them and she and her and you want to have this and you ain't break down your arms and you got all these things and then it's like, well, now you're upholding misogyny too, and now you're putting a ceiling on, just like a lot of these cishet people, on what a woman is supposed to figure like. So a lot of it, they think it's going to preserve their lives by shunting dirt and misery on us, just like the people are doing for us. Like I've had people even reference, oh well, we don't have to accept you. I'm like, who are you? What do you mean? You must think when you look in the mirror that you are a white cis man. There's a lot of confusion on that. But yeah, that's what I want to
Go
say.
ahead, Tessa.
So I think where it would come into what I've paid attention to is like misogyny and patriarchy and proximity to power very runs deep, especially with men, right? They are very competitive creatures, right? Very within their own bunch, more than women, to be completely honest. And so when you have a group of men who are paying power struggles between each other, right? And 9 times out of 10, it's probably going to be one of those males in that group that do mess with one of the girls, right? And it's more of like the push down kind of barrel since they got their LGBT marriage and they now they're publicly accepted, quote unquote, accepted by the white man. They feel like they have the same type of power as them now, right? Or that they may have the same type of proximity to their likeness in society. And then I think that runs deep in our 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 communities as well.
I
Uh,
Go ahead. Who is that?
it was me, it's Lyric.
Oh, go ahead, Lyric.
Yeah, I was just, it's funny. I was actually, I like, okay, so I should just tell the panel, I have this thing called, I have an issue, like a mental issue. So I'm not really able to, so I don't always know what's going to come out when I talk, but so please bear with me. Okay, so, I was thinking about Amoy, right? Okay, I thought, you know who Amoy is? I thought, you know Amoy, James and Amoy?
I keep hearing about that person. Who is
Yeah, who
that? I
is
don't know who
that?
that is.
He on TikTok. Like he big on TikTok. He real famous. Y'all should read him. Y'all should just search him Amoy. But okay, so he came out. First he was straight. Then he was gay. Then he was transgender. Okay, so now he going back to being gay, whatever. So it was really interesting seeing it happen because I've definitely seen gay men like that who thought, oh, I could be transgender if I wanted to. That's kind of how the mentality that they have. And then like with Amoya it was like, oh, you see how hard it is, right? Like if it don't come naturally to you, it's gonna get tired after a while. You know what I'm saying? Like for you, you think it's just wigs and makeup, and it's a competition of who's the most feminine in the room. But I think for a lot of us, this is really about survival. I couldn't be a boy again. You know what I mean? That really wouldn't work for me. And I won't say that, but I would just never do it. The thing is like I feel like a lot of these gay men, they do, like you were saying, they be getting kind of jealous. Some of them, they be getting real jealous of us, you know what I mean? Because they really want access to the men that kind of gravitate to us, or who that they kind of imagine are gravitating to us. So that's what I think is one. But the other thing I want to point out, you know how they be calling us men all the time? I be noticing, I be like, okay, y'all be saying we men, but then all the time y'all be like looking for, let me land the plane because I don't know what I was gonna say, but basically I'm gonna say I've been noticing that like they feel like they be saying like we technically men, but then in reality I see all the time you acknowledging the difference between me and you. You know what I mean? Like you see the difference all the motherfucking time. Like I can tell you realize like when you're looking for a transgender or the stereotype of a transgender in your head, it's not no man that's coming to your head. It's like this, like you said, Hope, exotic, beautiful, or whatever transgender woman. I'm like, why is that? Why is that? I thought it was supposed to be a man. Like, it's not no man coming to your head. It's somebody who straight men would like. That's who's coming to your head. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when the girls be saying it's a reach, you reaching. Go go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Hope. I don't want to.
No. I'm sorry. You just made me think about something because that ate. I don't know how many of y'all that just kind of hit in the face too, but like that just hit me in the face. That's so fucking true, and I have never even really thought about it from that lens. But it's mighty strange that we're these men, we these big niggas in wigs. But when y'all
Yeah,
are
yeah.
thinking about, like, right, like when y'all are thinking about us, like we're not giving holiday heart when y'all thinking about us for real. Like that's what y'all
So
want us to look like. That's the
But that's what they call us.
yeah. But it's sad
That's what
because
they call us. Even the women and men call us holiday heart. But my thing is, I get that all the time. But my thing is, like I tell them all, if I'm a man, then how could a man be feminine?
well,
Wait. Tell me,
How
you guys. Tell me, what
how
do
could
they
a
call
man
you again? What do they
how
call
could a
you?
man face be soft?
1 second,
Because
Robin.
if I'm a man, then how could a man face be soft?
The thing about that is that so I don't when it comes down to the aesthetics of things like that, because there are one of my best friends, Sky, is a man. He identifies as a man and he's one of the most beautiful people, and I do mean that very seriously. Like you can't look at Sky and be like, oh, you're so handsome. He's not trying. Sky is just pretty. So it's one of those things where it's just like
But Hope, a man is a hard working man. That's what a man is.
no, I think that is up for everybody's interpretation, which is the same thing that I say about women. Because if that's the case, then what are lesbian women who are studs or who are more masculine? We can't say that a man is hard, a man is X, Y, and Z, because there are plenty of women that are also hard. There are plenty of women who want to work with their hands and do the thing. And some of those women are not even gay, right? Like I think that if we always want to reduce things to, oh, what you do for a living or the way that you dress your clothes, like you are because you said that you were, and we respect it because that's what you told us about yourself, point blank in the period. And I think
Can I
that
say something to
until
that?
even we, yes, 1 second, Rabbit. Until we as trans people start to break that stereotype down, they're always going to be able to use it against us. I'm never going to look at somebody and based off of what they do for work or what they got on their ass, assume how they want to be addressed. I'm always going to let a person tell me how to come at them and then go from there. Because if we base that off of it, a lot of these trans girls out here, they may be the most beautiful bitches you ever did see, but they do some of the most masculine things. So do we take away their femininity because they don't know how to hold it in a way that makes us feel comfortable? There are a lot of men out here who are heterosexual, who are, willing to do the things that need to be done for their household, but he got a soft voice. He don't want to get into no arguments with nobody. He's not getting his hands dirty for nobody. He gonna work at Google and do IT tech jobs. Do we take away his masculinity because he doesn't show up in the way that we've decided that men are supposed to show up? No, we navigate people in the way that they tell us to navigate them with the same respect that we would want somebody to navigate us once we gave them our truth. That's just my opinion on it. I understand that some people like the rigid gender roles and men do this and boys like blue and women
That's
like
the
pink.
truth.
I'm just not a fan of
That's
the
not an opinion to me. That's the truth.
yeah, I mean, but again, I'm gonna respect Monica's truth because if that's how she feels, then by all means, because you run your house how you want to run it, you run your niggas how you want to run them, and I'm gonna run mine how I want to run mine, right? So I respect her opinion, but
Yes, ma'am.
I think that we still have to push back on that, especially on a public forum, because those same people that are hear you say that, Monica, will then turn around and use that to vilify you and every woman on this panel.
And yeah, that's what I was gonna say if I could add something, but I know someone else has to go. Do you mind if I say
Yeah,
something?
I told Rabbit that they could go. And so I also know that
Yeah, go
Ethan has
ahead.
been up here as well, and hasn't said anything. So
I'm free.
say that again, Rabbit.
I'm free to wait.
Okay, so
I'm
I
totally free to wait.
got you.
Yep.
So I will let Belly, if you can hold it for just a second, because Ethan has been up here just kind of like waiting in silence. So Ethan, I
Yeah,
want to
you're
give you a
fine.
chance to go,
Got
and
you.
then Belly, you can respond, and Rabbit, you can go after Belly. Go ahead, Ethan.
Hi.
Hey.
Okay, so I have a question for you. As a friend, as a Black trans advocate, like activist, and sorry, I'm trying not to get emotional here, but so I recently started dating somebody, and I got thrown into kind of a community that I'm not used to being around. He's like a straight white male that is like an ex pro motocross racer. And he came out and told everyone he was dating me. And everybody wanted to meet me and invite me to these events. And it's a lot of Trump supporters, a lot of people that honestly, I think I'm the first queer person they have ever been around. And going to these events, I've had a lot of issues feeling like a zoo animal, people just watching me, and like a lot of people coming up to me and asking me questions about politics and this, that, and the third, and how I identify and what do I believe when it comes to like trans people in bathrooms. And I feel bad because like my boyfriend has never been around someone like me either. And I love talking to him, and like I'm not a very good talker, like I sing. I'm not good at talking. So talking with him, it's easy, and I love educating him, and he's so eager to learn. But it's these other people that I first and foremost like don't want to be around them. I feel bad about that, but I'm put in those spaces, and I just don't know what to do because there have been comments that have been made. And I feel almost like it's a privilege to, sorry, I'm getting emotional. I feel like it's my privilege of being like, I don't want to talk about this when other people are going through this. I'm just uncomfortable, and I don't know what I should do as an ally, as somebody who loves many of my trans friends. And yeah, I'm just like really uncomfortable in those situations, and I don't feel like I'm doing the best that I can. Yeah, if that makes any sense.
So First and foremost, it's not your job. I think that there's a couple of things that I want to name that can be true at the same time. It is not your job to hold extra space, especially when you know that you're not equipped to fight that fight when we're not around. I think that sometimes it's okay for you to say, I don't know because I am not trans, but also here's somebody that I can connect you with that might know a little bit better than me. Here's a resource. It's
Mm.
okay to like also stand in your boundary and say, I am not a trans person. I identify as a gay man. And so that question is not for me. If you have a question about gay men, I'll do my best to answer it. Or you can also just straight up say, I'm here to enjoy the game. I don't really want to talk about politics. I don't think that that's the best space to
Yeah.
do. You're here to see him ride. I'm here to see him ride. Let's watch the race and then we can all go back home. It is not any of our job, right? Like I signed up to be an activist. Some of us sign up to be activists. And if
Right.
that's the thing that you've done publicly, that would be a different thing. But just because we are queer does not mean that we all have to join this train where now we're all have to, we have to be well versed on every little thing that needs to be said and all of it. Like it's okay to say, hey, I know that this is probably your all's first time being able to indulge in somebody like me, but I'm just here to watch the race. And I think that is also a conversation that you should have with your boyfriend about how he's going to show up in solidarity with you in these spaces and what it looks like, expressing to him what's happening,
Hmm.
the type of questions that you're being asked. And also, maybe if because he's also new, so I guarantee you there's going to be some pushback about it because he's still learning himself. And so, if there's
Yeah.
another way for y'all to, if there's a VIP area that you can kind of sort of sit in and be away from the folks, if there is a friend that you can take with you so that you don't feel bombarded and alone, because people are less likely to approach you if you're with a friend versus when you're just by yourself and they feel like, oh, there's easy access to this person. Those are things that you can do to protect yourself and protect your boundaries. But also, Ethan, because I know you have to say the thing
Hmm.
up front and you don't have to be rude, but you have to say, hey, not today. Hey, that's not my wheelhouse. Hey, I love your shirt.
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about your shoes, sis, because that's all I really know about. And I'm not here for any of the extra today, right? And I think that
Right.
moving through that with grace, but also moving through that with the understanding that you are not about to rock my boundaries is going to be something that will help you, because I think that the more that you say it to different people who don't know you, the less you'll have to say it because other people will relay that to you. Because if it's going to come up, it's going to come up, and people are just going to say, oh, well, like if you ask him, he ain't going to do nothing but tell you that he's here to watch the game. Or if you ask him, he's not going to do nothing but tell
Mm.
you, that, that's not his place. And so people will eventually get the hint and stop asking. But I think that you have to say the thing, you have to say it with your full chest and not worry about how they're going to feel about it, because they're not worried about how uncomfortable you are when they're asking these questions. So you shouldn't be worried about how uncomfortable they might be when you say that you don't have an answer.
That honestly, that feels so good to hear that, because it just feels sometimes like, okay, like I want to stand up and I want to say something and I want to educate people, but then I feel like, okay, this is not my place and like this is not my battle, but also like if I'm going to talk about it, like you're going to hear about it. So that feels really good to hear you say that. And I definitely need to work on that, just saying like, yeah, I'm here to watch this race. I'm not here for that.
Absolutely. Rabbit, thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Absolutely, Ethan. Rabbit, thank you so much for taking the time and waiting, my love. I'm gonna let you go, and then double
Oh, no
minority.
problem.
Double minority, you can go after
I've
Rabbit.
learned so much.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm learning so much.
Absolutely, Rabbit. But after you, Belly, you can go, and then double minority. I'm sorry, I didn't want to skip. Go ahead, Rabbit.
I have 100 questions, but I'm gonna summarize them all and just and have you speak the way you do and give me your best cheer on monologue, if that makes sense. And if I offend, I mean it in no way to be offensive. I'm going to try to communicate quickly. My 19-year-old daughter is coming for Christmas, and she's bringing her girlfriend who is a trans woman. And I want to be prepared. I want to be respectful, and I also want to be respectful of myself and my own boundaries, and I'm working on that. So here is, I think, in essence, my question overall. if it was my daughter and she was bringing a friend of hers that was not a trans woman, I wouldn't, when my daughter came to the door, I wouldn't have a bra on. I might not have pants on. When it's time to wake up in the morning, we might snuggle in bed. I'm going to leave the door open when I'm peeing in the bathroom because we might be in the middle of a conversation. I'm going to fart. I'm going to burp. Like, I'm going to do all the things that I do naturally around my girls. And I want to add one little bit of info, which isn't going to be a surprise to you. I have a lot of childhood trauma around men. And so I'm struggling with, and I want to respect my daughter's girlfriend, and I want to respect my daughter as best as I can. But I don't want them, because they're 19. Her girlfriend's actually 22, I think, which is great. But I don't want them to be my teachers.
Okay.
So I don't want to ask them a ton of questions, which I have it, like all the questions I could ask you so many different questions. I have a ton of questions, but I don't want them to be, you get it, right? So do you understand what I'm asking you now?
Absolutely. I mean, I understood it from the beginning.
Okay. So now
May
I'm
I
ready to
say something
listen.
quickly?
I think Belly
Yeah.
actually was. I think
Quickly, I like to say, as a mother, you should be able to ask a question to anyone who's dating your children. No ifs, ands, or maybes. You should be comfortable with that, but also be respectful.
right. And Belly, if this
I'm
hit,
done.
no problem. And Belly, if this hit what you were gonna bring up, go ahead. Feel free to take it.
No, it's new. I know just in conversations like this it'll come up again.
Okay.
But I just want to say, I can't say this is exactly what I'm just saying it seems to me.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the time, more often than not, with parents or people, speaking to Rabbit, it can come off as if you feel like it's just a chore. And I think oftentimes if you do ask a question or you do want to know more, you want to kind of make sure that you come into the conversation not just with the proverbial open heart, but also your beliefs need to be suspended. Insofar as that when you come into the conversation, whatever they're telling you, you can be receptive of it. Just because they're younger, that doesn't mean that they're completely inept. Because at the end of the day, experience is also something, an advantage to someone when it comes to educating other people. So that's an experience that you don't live. So of course, naturally, it goes the reason that they'll be able to tell you some things. And they may not always have the language, but there are people my age and older that don't always have the language. So that's not something particular to young people.
Thank you.
That's good insight, actually. That is good. I think so. I asked a question. I had them on speakerphone, the two of them on speakerphone, and her girlfriend said something, and I said something, and afterwards I felt like an idiot for saying, and that was, "Wow, your voice is really deep." I wasn't saying it referring to her as in masculine way. If I met a woman who had a deep voice, I probably would have said the same thing. You know what I'm saying? But my daughter kind of she scolded me and like, "Mom, that's not appropriate." Oh gosh, and now I'm like now I'm kind of going, no, tightroping here.
So go ahead, Tessa, because I'm
Auntie.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, Auntie, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm about to hit a little question. When you found out that she was trans, Miss Rabbit, did these questions, or did you start peeping things because of the transness, as if you were seeing if any masculinity would show?
Wait, can you try to ask me that a different way? I'm not sure I understand what you're asking.
What she's asking is, do you believe that there was unconscious bias that prompted you to see things that you might not have seen if you wouldn't have already known that this was a trans woman?
Okay, so let me see if this answers your question, and I apologize if it doesn't. But when I first found out that my daughter was dating a trans woman, I was elated, excited, partly because this is her first love. This is her first love experience ever. And I was also elated because she was having sexual experiences and they were good. And I always like that for me, for a mom, right? Don't you wish that for your daughter, their first sexual experience to be a good one? But then somewhere along that line, all of the sudden, somewhere in my brain, it clicked that this person has a penis. And then something inside of me shift.
Okay, so let me ask this now. Are you basing that the penis is attached to men, which you already have a trauma and a stigma against? So, with that, you are now
Yes.
viewing that stigma and putting that with that woman, trans woman.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So
Wait,
But
hold
not
on.
only just that,
Before we even go there, how do you know that her girlfriend has a
how
penis?
you know?
Yeah, has that been
Exactly. That's what I was just about to say.
oh, my daughter's told me.
okay?
I mean, because they're having sex. I mean, when I get to talk to her, because once you start having sex for the first time, you don't talk to your mom for months.
Yeah.
But because I know they're having sex and they're having great sex.
Honey, your
But
daughter's very open about that. And
we
I
Yeah,
love
she
that
we
for
talk.
you.
she's open big time on that because most people don't open up like that. Don't even say things about their sexual life.
Were right away. Like she was texting me, she sent me pictures of the first hickey on her neck.
Whoa,
It's,
girl.
but
Oh my
Girl.
Y'all, I no tea, no shade, no tea, no
god.
shade, no tea, no shade.
it,
I
Girl.
can believe it. I have
we,
I have I have
we,
friends in that diaspora that also have very intense and um
Mm.
open conversations with their
yeah,
family.
we lived alone together
To
in
me
Oakland,
personally, I
California.
just
Like,
sexual life is separate from your dating life. That's just separate. It doesn't matter if that's your mom or dad or sister, brother or friend. That's just separate. It's some things you just don't disclose to parents.
But why?
Monica
But that is
and
trauma.
Some people
that's
just have a
personal.
different
I was gonna say
relationship,
that's
you
Yeah, that's
personal
know?
personal.
between the parent and the children.
Yeah,
What you and your
yes.
yeah.
relationship and
But
what your people is like is not the way that it has to be for everybody. If you and your mama decide that sex is a boundary for y'all, that's cool. But if somebody else's mom wants to know the ins and outs and that person is comfortable, then I say go for it.
No, I get it. I get it. I'm just
yeah.
saying, like, that's just me personally. That's
But
I don't
can
know.
I go back to what
Yeah.
Mean Girl was saying, because if we can go back to that, because I think you're hitting something that might help me. Are you
Yes, I
there?
know. I'm on the track, darling. I'm following.
Okay, because I think I know what you're going to say, and I think if I can admit it, that's actually going to help you guys give me a better advice. And I think it's going to make me cry a little bit. But I think what's happening is I am a little fearful of being the way I would be around a woman, around a human that has a penis.
Yeah, you're feared that you're viewing that penis as that individual as a
Yes,
man, and that's
yeah,
not the
sorry.
correlation. No,
Yeah,
it's no. I
I didn't
understand. I'm
know
glad
that.
that you apologize and you're aware of that because a lot
Yeah.
of people
I
aren't.
didn't know it until
It's
just
okay,
now.
but that's a trauma, darling. That's a trauma
That
response.
is
That's called a trigger.
trauma.
So with that, you need to start dissecting why that makes you so fearful. If you are aware of that, you cannot put that on that individual
Right.
because that
I got it.
individual one is not a man, right? That penis does not dictate their gender, right? So any correlation that you may have with a male that ends up to be a man that may be traumatizing, do not and it will not correlate with this individual.
Okay. So, can I say one more thing? I think I'm good, you guys. Like, I got a great. This is the therapy I needed for the day. But one more thing, though. I think that if it was a mature woman like Hope, like a mature trans woman that was coming, I wouldn't be having this response.
Hold on, don't dictate their maturity off their age.
Oh, that's
Absolutely
right.
not.
Right.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Maturity. I've met
That's
some
not.
individuals who are
The first
60
thing
who
I
have the
said.
maturity of a
Yes.
16-year-old.
We just went a
So don't
circle.
dictate their maturity off of their age, sweetie. That's what
Okay,
I'm saying. It's a
I'm gonna
lot of
write that
things.
down.
Yeah, it's a lot of things that
Uh, Rabbit, here's a
you have
question.
to go into and just examine and use and give good faith in with your child, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't think your child will be in a healthy or open relationship, or a relationship to the point that they feel so
Ugh.
comfortable to come to talk to you so openly about, right?
Yeah.
Give this individual a chance.
Thank you.
Yeah,
But
This is
and it's
I
so
would like
beautiful
you to
that they
not
even
think they
did
could be
that.
a potential predator. Like, and even look at you or any of your girls in a predatory way. Also, you should think about it in a different perspective. Like, what if that was my child? If that person was your theoretical son before she transitioned, would you look at her that way?
no, because I would know her, right? I would know her maturity level, right? Yeah, and I
Right.
know my
So the
daughter.
fact
She's
that,
not.
yeah.
Yeah, I got it. I totally got it, you guys. It's so the thoughts inside and the feelings inside are so irrational, but sometimes they get so mixed up that I couldn't see the different parts of it. So now I've caught it. I know what I'm doing.
So
I'm
here's
judging
one
her
last
based on her
question.
age, and
Do
I'm
you,
judging her based on
okay.
her penis because of my trauma.
Mm-hmm.
She has something
Yeah.
to add, Rabbit, that I think might be helpful. I hope this isn't controversial. But look, okay, so and I might be telling too much of my business, but look, okay, so before I like transition for real, like I never used my penis, like it was not a part of my body. I was like I felt really connected to, even in sex. Like I've had SRS now. I don't have a penis anymore, but back when I did, and part of the reason why I was comfortable having SRS, I was like, girl, I don't use this thing ever, you know. Okay, except for one time I dealt with this I guess you call him a chaser or whatever. And like he went
Sister.
down. No, let me just tell you because it's important. He went down on me, right? But it wasn't like it wasn't like a guy going down on a guy. It was like a guy going down. It was different, you know? Like
Mm-hmm.
it was real different. And the reason why I want to say this is because for the women who do have penises, I feel like they hold those penises differently than men do, you know? And unless you're in the community and you've experienced it yourself, you might not see that there's like actually a very I don't know if you want to call it feminine, but I've been calling it womanly, like a very womanly way of holding a penis. And so when I see like chasers being attracted, I don't know about chasers, I don't know what you want to call it, being attracted to women with penises, it's a different experience, a different dynamic. Like I didn't really appreciate it until I received that love and affection and that affirmation, you know. So I just want to like add that to the chat because if you haven't like you might not watch transgender porn or whatever, and I
Whoa.
don't like I never watched it either until I saw something. I was like, oh, I can kind of see a difference here. Does that resonate with anybody, or am I just
Oh no, that's wonderful. I'm. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking maybe I
No,
should
I
look that
don't.
up.
No, not
So,
no.
okay.
Not that
But
type of.
here's,
No,
I'll
I know
say,
what I know. I
for
understand.
me,
you know, it's a good
Girl.
thing
not
because
the
we
porn.
shouldn't.
Not the
What? Wait, one
yeah.
porn.
more thing, Rabbit. I want you to look at it.
Hold on,
Not
people finish trying to talk.
not the
Oh,
not the
Yeah.
porn though.
Yeah,
But
but
no
why
point.
though?
But I
Like,
would
hey,
like to
No,
tell
I
her
don't.
to just do
hey,
this.
No,
and
Look
no,
at
I
it at
don't.
a
I'm
different
not gonna
I
talk
never
over
perspective.
with.
y'all. I'm not gonna talk over y'all. Thank you. Um, I agree with Daisy, and I agree with Daisy specifically because unless somebody here has links, unless some trans person, here has links of porn that is gonna be or is gonna represent a loving space more so than the fetishy space. Porn,
Oh
whatever.
Lord.
F1's in the chat, y'all. And so unless somebody has visual material that is going to represent the type of things that I'm sure Rabbit's daughter is experiencing that they can share with her as a recommended watch, I would
Mm.
not just send her into a space of corn, especially our corn, because it's usually fetishized and it might trigger her even more, right? So that is what I would say.
Yeah, good call.
Rabbit, what I will say is I
I'm
wouldn't
not
go.
really a corn user, anyways.
Okay, so
Okay.
and I
Girl.
wouldn't start there, right? So here we go. My thoughts
Yeah.
on
Please don't.
my thoughts
Yeah.
on this entire thing are this: if you love your daughter and you are confident in her ability to make good decisions for herself, as it seems like you are, and you all have a very um it seems like you both have a very close knit relationship with one another. And I think that first and foremost, you have to trust the decision that she's made for herself. And second of all, you have to
I just
also
wrote
Mhm.
that on my bathroom mirror. Trust her.
trust her.
Trust Katie. Trust her.
And I think
Exactly.
beyond that, you have to also accept that this person is also going to be a guest in your house. And so the things that you're saying about like whether or not to close the door or whether or not to get up early and be cuddling and snuggling, I think that that's going to be an adjustment for you too, not just because this person is trans, but because they're a visitor, right? And I think that you build a relationship with
Right.
the visitor in your life to where those things become, again, like my best friend Sky, me and his mom are so close that that's like my mom. I have a key to their house. I can pop up in Atlanta whenever I feel like it and open the door, and I'm just like any other one of her kids that's coming through the house. But that was something that took us years to build as Sky's best friend. I didn't get a key my first time visiting. She wasn't, taking off her
Got it.
wig with the door open my first time visiting. And so I think that the first time
Got it.
visiting, you're building this relationship to decide whether you like this person as a person for your daughter. Everything else beyond that should be navigated as the relationship that you would have built if there were a partner of another sex in the house. And it's not based on the fact that this person is trans. It's based off of the fact that this person does not know you and you don't know them. And what y'all are trying to decipher is how this
Got
relationship
it.
is going to best show up for your daughter. End of story.
Yes.
Beyond that, all of their personal business around their sex life, what they want to do, what they don't want to do, I think that that's up to them whether or not they want to share. But how you treat this person should be based on how you would want somebody to treat your daughter. Because if that person does have a relationship with their family, you can bet your bottom dollar that that mom is just as worried about what your daughter is going to do to her as you are worried about what she's going to do to your daughter. And I think that once you realize that, and once you understand that these are two people that care about one another and they just want it to work because they want everybody to be able to share in that love, you'll be able to move without all of these restrictions. And you might even find yourself being able to be more didactic to other people who are going through the same situation.
Okay, I should say,
Exactly.
I'm gonna
That's
step
wonderful.
down.
Thank you.
May I add one little input of mine?
Feel free, Daisy.
Yeah, I'm all in.
Yeah, I would like to say that just as she said, you have to remember that you should trust your daughter and trust whatever she's thinking of that person. And you also have to think of it from the perspective of this trans woman might be just as scared as you are, or not more scared to go to your home and be in an uncomfortable, unfamiliar place. And you
Yeah.
both have to get to know each other. So
Yeah, that's true.
I would say this, trust your daughter's judgment and know that you're comfortable with your daughter and your daughter would never put you in harm's way. And so don't look at this young trans woman as a predator. Look at her as a potential family member that's just as scared as you are in your home and just as uncomfortable. And yes, you may treat her like a stranger because you don't know her yet. So you're going to do things that's uncomfortable. Like, no, you shouldn't be in the bathroom with the door open. If you're talking to your daughter, you have to remember that there's a stranger in the home,
Yeah.
that you're
Yeah.
getting to know who's your potential family member.
Yeah.
And
I
you
say I've
have to
never gone
remember,
through. I've never gone
yeah,
through this before at all, and so I got mixed up between what's just normal, natural, mom worrying stuff, and I'm worrying because this person is trans, and it's not. That's not most of it's just me worrying.
Yeah.
of course, there's worries. As a parent, you're always
Yeah.
going to worry about your children and even yourself. If, like you said, you have a trauma response, you've got to grow into this. This is a new relationship, a new bonding that you have to learn from. You haven't even met them yet, no? Only
No,
through a
but
phone call.
yeah, my parents have met her girlfriend, and my parents loved her, and my parents are Mormon, by the way.
Oh,
Oh
great. So
wow.
if it
So
weren't
and they
for
they knew that she was trans. So I'm sure she's going to be an amazing
From
person.
Utah, Rabbit.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's why I'm
Hmm.
online. I don't know any trans people here to talk to about it. That's why I'm online.
You in Salt Lake, Provo,
Yeah,
Rabbit,
Ogden.
she's.
you can add me if you'd like to talk to me
I was
about
gonna
it for a
say,
little
Thank you. I will
support.
do that.
Are
please.
you in the
My,
northern part of Utah or southern part of
my
Utah?
daughter's in the northern part where there's a lot of queer people in the northern part, but
Yes,
I'm
like the
in
Roy
southern.
Ogden area, Salt Lake area.
She's in Salt Lake. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, period. I know exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
So that area is yes, very progressively LGBT.
Right.
Even with the Mormon church being smack dab in the middle.
I know. I live
But
in
the
Cedar
city is
City, by
very
the way.
progressive. The
I
city's
live
pretty
south.
progressive. It's very progressive over there.
Yeah, yeah,
I think
yeah.
she'll be okay. May I ask, do you know if the daughter is also white?
I think your mic is low, Hope. A little bit.
Oh.
You mean my daughter's girlfriend?
Yes.
She is white, yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
which helps. Can you imagine being a black trans person in Utah?
Woo.
Oh, I
Girl.
can. I
No, I
was.
cannot. We would not
Oh
be
my
friends.
Girl.
gosh.
Listen.
We would
Oh my
never.
goodness.
I can and I was, darling. Trust
You
me. I
Not
know.
by
you
choice.
I
could become a
know.
celebrity.
So what I want to insert something because the Moody girl put something in the chat that I think that, and I want to say this, and then I want to move on to double minority. But thank you, Moody.
Thank you guys.
I
Thank
do
you.
really appreciate this. Moody said, "She will be a mighty protector over your daughter. I can bet you that. Please protect her too." And I think that that is a
Oh,
lovely sentiment because I think that when you realize or when you find that, and mind you, we don't know this woman, but we're going to hope for the best. And your parents love her, your daughter loves her. So we're going to assume that Moody is right in this. And I think when
Yes.
somebody that cares about your daughter
mm,
this much is also going to need you to care about and believe in her because that's going to amplify the way that she cares about your daughter. It is so much easier to love somebody who you already love when the people that love them love you. And I think
Yes.
you realize and you take the transness out of it as a mom, and you start to see this young woman as a person who just wants to love your daughter and do so with your permission, as the person who they know would lay down their life for this woman. It will amplify the way that she's able to show up, protect, and be there for your daughter. And I think that not only will you thank her for it, but your daughter will thank you for it in the long run for helping to build a partner that is not going to leave her without a protector. I promise you that.
that's so beautiful. Thank you, ladies, so much.
Have
Thank
a
you
great night,
so
Rabbit.
much.
Absolutely.
And before
Thank
you
you.
go,
Thank
Have
you.
a
Rabbit,
good
I just
night.
want to say this. Treat that girl like you would treat your own child until she gives you a reason not to. Don't
Boom.
put anything on her before you. Yeah, that's it.
Boom. All
Treat
right.
Yeah,
her just like you would treat your child.
yeah.
All right, double minority, go ahead because we are almost at our
Thank
2
you guys.
hours.
Thank you. Thank you.
No biggie,
Have
Rabbit.
a
We are
good
almost
night.
at.
Hey,
Hold on.
Hope, how are you?
1 second, babe. Let me reset the
Can
room.
y'all
Daisy.
hear me?
We can hear you. Let me reset the room
Okay.
real quick. Hey, everybody. It is I, Hope Giselle. In case you don't know me, I am not new to the Instagram or I'm not new to the influencer space. I'm just new to the TikTok space. We are here to have lovely, fun, open dialogue. We don't have to always agree, but we will respect one another up in this motherfucker. All right. I do these lives pretty much every night at this point around 9 p.m. Western time and about 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that is particularly during the week. We always have a goal down there of at least 10 of or more keys that I choose, and you can always give more if you would like to. I saw somebody give a galaxy, my sister, shout out to Giovanna. And also we like to make sure we hit our 60,000K likes. If you cannot do anything monetary, then make sure you just drop some sunflowers in the chat. It makes me feel just as good to see the sunflowers as it does when y'all go ahead and y'all send that money. So one or the other works just fine, but they all make me feel just as good. Make sure that you're not only following me, but you're following the people that are up here giving their intellectual property for essentially free, because it takes a lot for us to give out the things that we've learned and probably had to pay in life experience to y'all for no charge. Okay, so at the very least, y'all can support us, follow people, and share out their content so that they can also do what they need to do on this here app we like to call the TikTok. With that being said, I typically only do 2 hours to 2 hour and 30, with that being my hard limit and my hard boundary for how long I'm willing to be on here. We are about 2 hours and 11 minutes into this stream. I'm going to go ahead and allow double minority to insert their thoughts into the conversation. And then if we do not have a robust conversation by that point, I'm going to give and we're going to get up out of here. Been sitting back and watching, but you have something burning in your soul, you don't have to join the panel, but please drop it in the comments because we are here for that. All right, go ahead, double minority.
All right, so I want to say this because I was listening to what y'all were saying earlier about gay men when it comes to trans women, and I've been seeing this with my friends. A part of me feels as though
And again, like these are my friends who I'm from Orlando. Like I grew up with a gay family. And what really bothers me is you have aunties, sisters, nieces, this, that, and the third. You have trans women who raised us. Like we were literally raised by trans women. And you are sitting up here and you still at the end of the day you like, oh, okay, was this that? And it, I don't agree with this and I don't agree with, baby, what do you mean? You couldn't get a haircut. They were paying for our haircuts. You couldn't get an outfit. They were paying for our outfits. What the do you mean that, oh, well, at this point in your life, because now we're in our 30s, we were teenagers, but these trans women were taking care of us. And I also think that when it comes to how gay men view, y'all didn't grow up around trans women. Y'all didn't grow up around y'all were not in the mall where my auntie was trying on a dress and no T was clogged. We were at the mall, and even if it was the T is clogged, we about to fight them.
I mean,
Like
especially not
we
back
are not
then.
going
Right,
to
especially
let
not back then.
it slide.
Yeah.
Nobody was
Like you
clocking the
gotta
T
remember
back then.
2009. So how is it that gay men, to me it's so crazy that gay men can get on a platform and then say this, that, and the third about any trans woman? Be like, I mean, maybe it's my experience, but then also, like I was saying, I have to understand that a lot of y'all weren't raised by trans women. So if you don't really understand what trans women had to go through and the reality of being raised or being around trans women, how can you even speak on the experience? So, friend, let me know what you think.
Oh, now let me be
Like,
Auntie,
very.
that's
I want to
some
go after
crazy
you,
shit.
Auntie.
Look here,
Auntie, I want to go after you.
Tessa, you might need to take this one first. I need to sit on that. You take this
Okay.
one now.
Okay. So for one, do you listen? What I heard was take care of most of the time, right? And do you know how most men see us as tricks, right? So when you see it like that, is there? Of course, they're going to always think on the back end, right? Because at the end of the day, it's eating at their soul because men base things off of ego. But I tell girls all the time, take back what you do for them and watch how they really feel about you show. Right? Because that's why a lot of men stick around the girls, is because the girls tend to take care because we're nurturers. We at heart, a lot of the girls like to take care of our own.
That's the womanhood.
That's the womanhood to it. That's the motherly nature of it all. That's the nurturing part to us. And what we do is we ended up giving it to these ungrateful ass bastards, right? And then they turn around, they getting dick down. Now they feel like the baddest bitches because they got the shit on. They got their hair cut. They got flossed up. And they realize, just like they mamas, who did that for them, right? So it's a whole like cycle of other things that play into effect of why they treat us the way that they do, while we're also, and forget who also helped their asses, right? And so it's a layer of ungrateful, it's an unappreciation, negligence, and that's where I tell my sisters, because I'm tired of talking to them and confronting them about it, because I know what it is. Stop doing what you don't. Stop catering to them. Decenter them and let them sit and dry, because they out here fucking and sucking each other anyway,
Ooh, girl.
and then lying about it, calling them bros, cousins, homies. So guess what? Let the same ones that you fucking and sucking on deal with you. Let them go get you a haircut. See if they're barbering skills. The ones that are barbers, see if they hook you up with a free cut. See if they go help you buy some Jordans. Go get go get that fit together because you don't even know how to dress yourself because your mama been dressing you since the ages you've been popping out.
Girl facts. I'm dead.
But no, but it is true. Like, let me tell
Right.
you,
So that's
when
what it
we were
is.
younger, like that when people say like, oh well, where does the term like this is my mother? My mothers, my grandmothers, like, like they supported me in the scene, especially. Like I was in college, but black parents, if I say, all right, daddy, I need a cut to go out to the club, my daddy gonna be like, what the fuck you talking about?
Well,
But trans women and my
these
family said, yes, okay, I'm going to support you in this.
Because that's
And a
okay to
lot
have
of
a color.
people do not understand that. Like a lot of people do not understand what trans women do for the LGBT youth.
Some of them
well,
don't care.
so yeah, a lot of
I,
them don't care. I was just gonna say that a lot of them don't care, darling, because they see it. No matter how many times you put it out there, no matter how many times you put, but it's not even about them. It's because it's that's the point I be trying to tell. It's not about them caring anymore or seeing or validating it. It's
Miss
about
Lady,
showing.
may
It's
I
about
say
showing that
something,
we can
please?
continue to do right, but it's within our own because these men at this point, what you're telling me is that regardless if we help and continue to pour into them later down the road, they're always going to turn on us.
So I
And that's
saw
not even the only problem. So, okay.
no, I was gonna say I saw Belly in the chat wanting to go after Tessa. So I would say let Belly jump in and then you can go after Daisy. Daisy. Y'all, we have
Mm.
15 minutes
yeah, I kind of touched on it.
or just about I'm gonna say
I
12
only have
minutes.
one sentence to say, but I'll wait. Let the lady, like, okay, you go, you girls go.
Okay. Um, yeah, so and I kind of jumped in for a second and said it anyway, because Tess was kind of touching on it. But yeah, I also think like, just like I think oftentimes people forget like gay men or GAY men, they're still men. So of course, like most people, they are
Mhm.
opportunistic, and also
Mhm.
they also I've seen that due to proximity to us, they feel like they can't really have a shift in their paradigm. They still see us a certain type of way. You know, even especially if they've seen us transition or not, or just, they're like our sisters. That's why we say to each other sister. And I think that has in their heads give them some type of proverbial permission slip or license to treat us any type of way. And of course, because we're women, they're like, hush now, be quiet. Just like most men do. A lot of GAY men and people in general, a lot of GAY men, since that's the context we're talking about, or the subject, are very misogynistic too. So of course, when it comes to a trans woman, it won't be no any different. They can say that we're different or that we're just men, but they're still going to treat us as they do now, like they would any other woman.
I agree. Go ahead, Daisy. Say your one
Yes,
sentence.
yes, Lonnie, an extension of.
Yeah, and to me it's like that is not correct. And like with my politics, it's just kind of like there is no way that I can look at a group of people and I know like I'm a part of that group too. And even y'all were saying this earlier when y'all were kind of talking about um the last speaker who was in here, like they try to demonize trans people so much. What do you mean? But
Um,
y'all not been around a trans person. Tell me like two trans people y'all like it's crazy to me. Y'all have never been around a trans person. And at
she
this point,
demonized herself with that because her what she said spoke volumes to all of us. And it comes from a place of sadness, hate, and ignorance. And we understand this.
Yeah.
yes,
And you got to pay attention to like how collective again men instead of being leaders they're a lot of times followers. A lot of them have mommy issues to the point that they've been coddled. They've never been taught to be leaders, and their fathers have never been leaders. So they don't know how to lead their own lives or be a real man, or let's not even say that, stand in their masculinity,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because at this point, you're listening to a collective and you have yet to even go and experience. That lets me know you have lack of leadership and lack of like self, like identity. You have no grounds to really speak because you let others speak for you and you just run with it. That's the
Exactly.
type of man I would never really entertain anyway. Because if you can't have a conversation with me and tell me why you don't like trans women outside of what a collective thought has said, you're
Mm-hmm.
already a weak beta man to me anyway.
Facts. And that's another thing I wanted to hop on the topic about is these people, they don't care about what we're going through because they will never experience it for themselves. If you don't experience something for yourselves, you don't give a fuck about it. And it's that simple. Why would you care about something you don't have to go through yourself? And so they just look at us from that perspective like, okay, we're not going through it. You're weird. You're this, you're that. And so they just use it against us.
So
And
I'm
it's,
gonna
yeah.
give y'all a space to give y'all final thoughts, because we only have about a good 6 minutes left in the chat. So I want to give everybody space to, what do y'all want to leave? The final thoughts is basically what y'all want to leave the people with. Double minority, I'm not gonna give you final thoughts because you haven't been up here, but I am gonna
Right?
give
No shame.
Tessa,
Okay.
No shame.
I'm gonna give
No
Tessa, Belly, and Daisy final thoughts, and then I want to take some time to close us out. So whatever it is that y'all want to leave the people with, y'all give it to them. So the order in my screen is Tessa, Belly, Daisy. So y'all go ahead.
Okay, my final thoughts is, you have any my final sorry, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, period. My
Mhm.
final thoughts is based off tonight's conversation, I think a lot of people need to start outside of corn, start looking at different aspects and spaces of transness, right? So when we start running into or having these conversations with other individuals, we can start to dissect what types of, some people might have traumas or may have preconceived notions about individuals, or just all around, you know, taught thinking and taught behaviors. So just take yourself to learn your own identity for once before you say you don't like anything.
Belly.
shame. I was just gonna say thank you again, of course, for having the platform to speak. This is my second time, and I'll be here again. But also too, you lightly touched on something. What Monica said. She was talking about what she believes a man basically just light things about what she believe a man should do, and you guys can push back on that. And that's what I wanted to speak on, but I forgot. But essentially, I wanted to say that we want to be careful because, like you touched on too, this is a platform in which people do come in here, and even in the comments, people said, "Oh my God, I've been educated by Tessa or Belly and da da da." People do come here and they listen. I'm not saying we have to be a possibility model for people, but I think we want to be careful with generalizing speech because also when you give things a ceiling, that idea of giving things a ceiling or measuring people's existence is honestly a big device of like white supremacy and tools of oppression. Oh, I'm gonna tell you what you have to do to become a woman, and it fails and fails and fails. Oh, you have to. I'm gonna show you what you have to do to be able-bodied. These things fail and fail and fail. So you have to be careful when you place a ceiling on things because that can become your prison too. Because you can think you're all the woman in the world, and people will come and tell you, "Well, I'm sorry, well the ceiling's higher than you thought. Actually, you're not a woman, and you have to have this too." So we have to be careful. That's it.
All right, go ahead, Daisy.
Period. I don't have too much to say, but I want to say that I am grateful for being on this panel. I love and appreciate all you ladies that are all just like really educated and lovable individuals who can speak your mind without any disrespect. And I can't wait to come back to this panel again and hear more of your inputs and add my own, and we just do our thing.
All right, y'all. So in case you are new
Thank
here,
you.
You have no idea what is going
Thanks,
on.
Auntie.
My name is Hope Giselle, and I am not new to this space, but I am new to the TikToks, and I come here to host conversations that leave people thinking about something that they didn't come in with. Um, my final thoughts on all of this is that you treat people the way that they ask to be treated. People will often say, like, oh, you treat people the way you want to be treated, and some of y'all don't mind being treated like garbage, and I refuse to smell like a dump. So I think that you treat people the way that they're asking to be treated, and that simply means that the way that people show up is the way that you respond, and what they deserve is what they get. If they deserve bullshit, they get bullshit. If they deserve flowers and basic respect from you, then that's what they get. We have to be mindful that everybody is just navigating a world that was not built for those of us who are sitting in the margins, and the margins can be very wide or very narrow depending on how intersectional your identity can be. But that does not mean that you have to settle for the crumbs of somebody else's version of respect. It does not mean that you have to pretend as if your word and the things that you feel are not just as valid as the words and the opinions and the things that somebody else is feeling around your existence. Um, I want to say thank you to the parents that have been listening, whether you've said something or not, because you stayed long enough to actually be changed in some way, shape, or form. And I want to say thank you to the gay men that offered truth to the idea that there is a discord that is happening amongst gay men and trans women that should not exist. Because while we might not be living the same existence anymore, we are cut from the same cloth. And if we keep snipping away at the scraps of our own coat, we're not going to have anything by the time the winter gets here. And we got to remind ourselves that the only people that are going to keep us warm are us. That's the point blank in the period. So when I think about who I want to be surrounded with, when the days get cold, is people that understand my journey and my struggle. I don't care to be in community with people, whether they're straight, gay, trans, or indifferent, that don't understand my struggle and that simply just are existing for the sake of existing. And you shouldn't either. That's just my opinion. Do with that what you will. And until next time, it's been real, y'all. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Mooches, girlies.